'Cause the truth hits different when the facts come out.
Good morning, everybody. 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Tuesday, February the 10th. Thank you for being here. We know you have many choices to make every single day. And as always, we're very grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. So thank you, thank you, thank you. There is a gifting goal today. Please help us out there. As you know, we tend to get scolded, I guess we'll say. So tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. Please consider contributing to the gifting goal today as we're tracking towards our do something target. Our new number as of yesterday, $884 raised, on our way to 25K. We'll talk a little bit more about the Do Something Tour a little bit later this morning. Just as a quick summary, in case you don't know, your boy's heading out to travel the country, the eastern half of the United States, starting in early April, to have conversations with people who felt disconnected to politics. And from my perspective, it's not about your political affiliation. It's about your activism and your getting involved. More to come on that. Please go to the merch store. There's a lot of information there. Thank you, Sam, by the way. Thank you so much. If you go to Facts HQ or factsstillmatter.site, Facts HQ link is in the link tree in my bio. Factsstillmatter.site, you can see a new representation of Do Something, including links to follow along, contact information, and while you're over there, pick up some amazing merch. Through this Friday, we're still raising funds for the Community Action Network of Minneapolis. It's canmn.org. Any and all proceeds from the items in the merch store that are dedicated to Minneapolis and Minnesota will go directly to that cause. I think we're approaching probably around $250 raised so far. Again, all the proceeds from the sales of those items go to support that organization. So thank you all. Also, there's a bunch of amazing merch that's in the store. If you want to support democracy, if you want to stand with a fist, so to speak. I'm a big fan of human rights, Women Don't Know You Shit series, a whole bunch of stuff over there. Speaking of the link tree in the bio, you can also find the link to the Discord. If for some reason that does not work, you can either copy the link, post it in a browser, or paste it in a browser, and then it will open in Discord, assuming you have Discord installed on your device. Or if last resort, reach out to one of our amazing moderators, and they can help you out. So thank you all very, very much. We appreciate you. Lot to get into today. As is the case, we always try to navigate through things as best we can. There's going to be some things today that I never thought I would ever be reporting on, but I will. I want to talk briefly about before we get into some of the stuff, and I want to finish a little bit more about the Bad Bunny's performance at the Super Bowl, which was amazing. There's no denying that, and how the twisted right is attempting to try to spin it, because we are now in this weird void vacuum, whatever you want to call it. When we first started hearing about the Jeffrey files, right? Speaking of that, it's day 53 of the Department of Justice breaking the federal law, 53 days since the full files were to be released. We'll get into that a little bit in a moment, because we know that the members of Congress have access to the information, and they're ready to name names. Thomas Massie is ready to go full on scorched earth, and I'm here for it. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. When we first started to hear about this situation with J.E., we all knew that he was a disgusting and vile person. We all knew about his network. None of us had any idea how, except those involved, how expansive it was. It's one thing. It's bad enough knowing what we initially had learned about the crimes against children, boys and girls, and some crimes against, adult-aged women and men. But the depravity and the horrible nature of these crimes is beyond anything that any of us could ever imagine. We see emails referencing, age 10. We see emails referencing age 11. We see emails referencing age, 13, 14. We hear more and more stories from more and more survivors about how old they were when they were groomed. And we learn about we see some of the footage and some of the video and some of the pictures from inside his island and his estate. And we see these trap doors that open down to the ocean. Why? We hear stories about, bodies disappearing. We hear stories about bodies being buried in fields and tossed into Lake Michigan. And we hear these horrible stories about just, it's hard not to get specific, but Yeah, we hear stories about Zorro Ranch. We hear the Lake Michigan story. And then we spent a lot of time yesterday connecting the financial dots, right, about how Russian influence. And then we hear the timing of Jeffrey Epstein communicating with Steve Bannon in advance of Donald Trump's meeting in Helsinki, Finland with Vladimir Putin. And you can follow the thoughts. You guys are the smartest chat on TikTok. You can fill in the blanks for yourself. My job here is to try to say, this is what we know. This is what we can see. And these are how the dots connect. As you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. And I think a lot of these are just past conspiracies, right? I mean, there's no denying the circles that he ran in. There's no denying the money that's moved. There's no denying that this scandal covers every possible industry, every possible community, from politics to entertainment to sports to fashion to food to high tech. I mean, you name it. You name it. So it covers things and includes things that none of us could ever imagine. We're starting to get names now. And I'm going to go through some of the documents that were released, and I'm going to name names, the names that are public. And the more we get every single day, the more I will do that. And I don't give a fuck. I at this point, I don't give a fuck. I really don't care. If I will lean in on what we know, I will lean in only on what we know. I will not make innuendo. I will preface this by saying what we see here are allegations. What we see here are names that have been named in either lawsuits or FBI complaint statements or corroborated. I am not here to pass criminal judgment. I am certainly here to pass moral judgment for sure. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. And of course, yesterday we learned that Ghislaine Maxwell, to no one's surprise, claimed the fifth or pled the fifth. What would we expect her to do? And we're also going to talk about this deal that was potentially offered by her lawyer, and we'll unpack that and what that means. And then we'll kind of retrace our steps a little bit to kind of talk about some of the things that have now become public, including a timeline. And I want to talk about that briefly. So I know it's I'm not going to say it's easy, but for lack of a better term, it's easy to talk about the depravity and the crimes. I get that. For me, it's always been about the contradictions and the lies to cover up the other lies. Case in point, the lies that the Trump administration, in particular Donald Trump, has made about when the relationship with he and Jeffrey ended, right? So we've got information now in a couple of different examples in the files that have been released that completely blows up that entire narrative. Long story short, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. We have to love harder. I don't mean to sound, hyperbolic or performative. That's just not me. I think you guys know that. But we have to remember that there's nothing more important than to protect the ones that matter the most to us. And I think about some of these children that were brought into this. There is evidence that their parents, in some cases, put them in these positions, sold them, basically. And none of us could even imagine that. None of us could even imagine that. And I don't always want this show to be in that, that level of just somberness and sadness, but it's hard not to cover this story. And I made a commitment to you guys that I would not stop covering this story, and I won't. It's not easy every day. I can tell you that. It takes a lot out of all of us, but it's important to me. It's really, really important to me that we try to find some way to get these survivors and these victims justice. I don't know what that means. In the court of public opinion, I know what it means. Okay. Yeah, watching some of the comments scroll by this morning, it's funny. So we'll do our best. We'll continue to stay on this story. We'll report it as we do. We only talk about the things that we know, right? Before I get into that, though, I do want to just kind of go back to a little bit regarding the amazing halftime show and how it hasn't landed well with certain personalities on the right. Case in point, Megyn Kelly, she's one. So she did an appearance with Piers Morgan, and I'll play some parts of it, and it tells you everything you need to know about the cult. So here you are. Here's clip number 1.
Got up this morning and I watched it all without reading anything about it. I just thought I want to watch this completely clean without anyone's view contaminating my brain cells. And I watched all 15 minutes of it. And I've watched every halftime show going back 30, 40 years. I thought as a piece of theatre, it was the best I've seen. Just the most extraordinary kind of Broadway on steroids piece of theatre. I also thought it wasn't remotely divisive politically in the end. His Grammys speech was, but his performance, I thought, was actually a lot of things which I would have thought people on the conservative right would applaud. It was about love. The couple actually got married. For real, in the middle of it. He was preaching about unity, not just the United States of America, but the wider Americas. What was the problem, Megan?
A certain male gesture is coming to mind, but I'm not sure I can do it on this show. No, it wasn't about what he was actually going to do during the middle of the Super Bowl performance. It's about him. It's about him being chosen as the Super Bowl performer, somebody who's been an outspoken critic, of course, of the Trump administration and of America and our anti-immigrant policies. This is long before the current controversy over ICE. He doesn't want illegals deported from this country. Well, too bad, because the majority of Americans do want that and are not shy about pushing for it, and that's why President Trump got elected. So he and his little buddies over at Green Day never miss a chance to bash the United States of America. I think those medications for your hip have gone too far. You need to, we need to dial back a pill or two, okay? We want something that we can all understand. I don't think Bad Bunny used his appearance to bash America, but I can't be sure because I didn't see any subcaptions on his Spanish language performance.
But what about Pavarotti?
They chose two America haters.
What about Pavarotti, who Donald Trump in 2016 in particular would use at every campaign rally? He's used it at the RNC, right, as a triumphant, tub-thumping anthem. Well, no, hang on. Not only Pavarotti.
I've been to lots of Trump rallies. Pavarotti gets a song, maybe
but
two.
He sings, but when he sings Nessun Dorma in Italian, I don't see you leaping up and down going, I can't understand a word of it.
That's a good point now, isn't it? Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's not all she had to say in the same interview. So here's the see you next Tuesday on full display with her hatred.
To get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States?
Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? Okay.
We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish.
Really? So that would be 350 million. So you're saying 40 million Spanish speakers. You're saying that all other 310 million don't speak Spanish? I took Spanish for all 4 years of high school and 1 year in college. At one point, I was pretty much, I could navigate just about any conversation. I couldn't do it now because I'm out of practice, but that's just an interesting take there, Megan.
This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
Okay, what is the national language, officially the national language of the United States of America?
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, that people have been pushing to make it official.
Okay, right, so you're trying to make official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone. We're not allowing that here. Whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim, it's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is out. Halftime American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English speaker should be.
Quiet, piggy. Anyway. So at the core, everything that we discuss here on the regular, right, is just about Megyn Kelly's view of America, right? The American culture. I think I mentioned to you that over the weekend I was in a couple of lives, as I do. Remember, I go there so you don't have to. You're welcome, right? But the reason I go there is because it's important to me to understand what the next talking point is and what they have been spoon-fed and how they're given their hatred on a platter. In Megyn's world, it'd be like a barbecue dish. So when this topic of American culture comes up, someone told me over the weekend that American culture is NASCAR. You know what many people who would say that, those Confederate flag flying NASCAR aficionados, what they don't understand is, guess who started the modern day NASCAR? That would be black men rum running. Yeah. See, the problem is that when people don't want to understand history, they don't get it. Yeah, bootleggers, rum runners, exactly. So the weird part about these statements when someone says, yeah, American culture is NASCAR. Really? Really? Okay. And then part two of my American culture conversation that I had with somebody was that their claim was that American culture is capitalism. Really? Capitalism is uniquely American? So other countries around the world don't participate in capitalism? Okay. And then when pressed, I said, can you maybe find something that's uniquely American? Because capitalism exists everywhere. Then it was taking care of your neighbor. So are we to say that other countries around the world don't take care of their neighbors? You ever been to a Caribbean nation? Jamaica, for example? Some of the most amazing, beautiful, incredible people I have ever met in my life. That's all they do. That's all they do. That's all they do. These amazing people have next to nothing, including no walls on their houses. I wouldn't even call it a house. And that's all they do is take care of each other, take care of their neighbors. So that doesn't work. So that's not uniquely American. So then what else? So then I press him again. This person starts to get a little triggered. And I said, if I were to be asked what American culture is, I would say it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because that is what makes America unique, the United States unique. Our food, our music, our fashion, our clothing, our artwork, our history. That is American culture. So when you hear the American culture coming from our friends on the right, they mean white culture. Let's just be real. Let's just call it what it is. They believe it's white culture. This is why mayo and bland food, you're right, Midwest. This is why when we talk about the importance of education, this is exactly why PragerU, Turning Point, Moms of Liberty, they don't want history taught. They don't want people to know that NASCAR was started by black bootleggers. They don't want people to know that. They don't want people to know what the doctrine on Lady Liberty. Bring me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. That would be everybody. Right? They don't understand where rock and roll comes from. They don't understand where many instruments, banjo in particular, came from African shores, smuggled over here during slave trades, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Things that they would define as American music, like banjos and the fiddle and things like that. Guess what the roots are? Why does every blues-based rock and roll artist attribute Memphis blues to the origin of their music? The entire British invasion was based around Mississippi Delta. Ask the Stones, ask Led Zeppelin, ask the Beatles. Who were their influences? American culture, they would say, rooted in black history, period. Immigrants define American culture. period. All of us. Again, ask Elvis. Where do you think Elvis went? Great point. Where do you think Elvis went to really embrace what he became? He would be the only white boy in a black club. And they would embrace him because he got it. That is the story of our country. That's it. That's why we keep talking about the importance of education. And you've got people like Megyn Kelly who just want to dismiss entire subsets of our history because she's a racist and she's a bigot. See you next Tuesday. I won't use the word, but that's what she is. And, so we run into this event, this amazing event. Yes, it was a show. Yes, it was a Broadway show. Yes, it was incredible. It was the best. Again, I still put Prince singing Purple Rain in the Rain as the top of all Super Bowl performances. And I can't imagine one surpassing that just because of what it was. But this was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And because our country is filled with white supremacists and racists and bigots, they can't see past it. They get triggered by Bad Bunny singing in Spanish. And meanwhile, fucking Kid Rock forgets his own words, tries to come up with dang da da. What the fuck does he say half the time? Here we are. So here we sit. So the same racist, white supremacist bigots are now trying to judge other people because they're triggered. Again, American conservatives, the weakest, most pitiful betas I've ever seen. Yeah, and again, Kid Rock's line, some call it statutory, I call it mandatory. We went through the lyrics of Jailbait yesterday by Ted Nugent. I don't care if you look 13, Jailbait. Big tell there, right? Again, American culture, in my opinion, our music, our art, our food, our fashion, our sense of community, it all comes from immigrants. All of us, everybody here, every single one of us. I'm going to get into this report by the Cato Institute that I think is going to destroy the entire narrative for our friends on the right about immigrant contribution. So here we sit, right? Here we have this amazing performance. And we've got people that just are so fucking triggered by it that they can't handle it. So we see ourselves now discussing it, and you watch the hatred scroll by in the morning. He should have spoke English, official language. No, there is no official language, just like there is no official religion. No, we're not a Christian nation. No, we don't have, English is not our official language. No. And yes, our country was founded on white supremacy and slavery. Yes, our country was founded by people who look like me, to protect people who look like me, to benefit people who look like me, and we still live it. Our system was founded on systemic racism, period. It's not debatable. I don't even want to debate it anymore. What's the point? Trying to debate something like that with racists? Of course they're not going to believe it. Debate it with bigots? Of course they're not going to believe it. What's the point? The point is that we get it. They don't. And they never will. Because you have people like Megyn Kelly who's going to perpetuate this bullshit. And every other, the right wing, like the Nick Fuenteses of the world. And even the fucking Charlie Kirks of the fucking world. That's what they perpetuated. That's what they perpetuated. Because they want to tell the weak, fragile, soft, bigoted, racist, white supremacist, white Americans that you don't have to apologize for being white. Thank you, J.D. Vance. Kirk spoke logic? Okay, got it. So, congratulations to Bad Bunny. Now, I would agree that his Grammy statement, his Grammy speech was political. Sure, fuck it was. Ice out, goddamn straight. Goddamn right it was. This was a show. Embracing community. And Piers Morgan brings up a great point, right? You would think conservatives would embrace it. It was a opposite sex marriage, a man and a woman getting married, love, business, capitalism, right? Entrepreneurship. Aren't those traditional conservative values? Apparently not. And you know what? There's probably 30 or 40 million Americans that don't even understand that Bad Bunny is American because he's Puerto Rican. Immigrants, they get the job done and always will. So why don't I, instead of getting into, because we've got a lot to cover on the Jeffrey files, but let's get into this what I wanted to talk about, because how it completely debunks the entire narrative connected to the immigrants don't contribute anything. There is a report from the Cato Institute that just recently came out. First of all, if you do the media bias fact check, let me do it real quick in real time here. Media bias fact check rates Cato as right, but highly factual. So they're like a right-leaning libertarian organization. Oftentimes, the data has a bit of an anti-immigration stance when you read a lot of it, but it's pretty factual. I mean, I've used the Cato, I've referenced the Cato Institute in the past. So they've done a massive study that goes back to 1994. Now, MAGA, you guys probably want to leave for this part. Well, I'd like you to stay because you might learn something, but you're going to get up in your feels. Okay, you're going to get up in your feels. A Cato Institute study concluded that immigrants, both legal and unauthorized, reduced U.S. These are their words. Okay, reduced U.S. government deficits by $14.5 trillion between 1994 and 2023. Net fiscal surplus. Immigrants paid more in taxes than they received in benefits every year since 1994. Over the full period, immigrants generated $14.5 trillion in a fiscal surplus compared with a projected $48 trillion deficit without them. $14.5 trillion in surplus directly as a result of immigration, both undocumented and legal. $48 trillion deficit without them. So again, normally, smartest chat on TikTok, but in case there's some people from the right who are in here, a deficit is bad. A surplus is good. You want to understand deficits more, just look at Republican-based tax policies. That'll give you an idea what a deficit is. $14.5 trillion fiscal surplus compared to a $48 trillion deficit without them. Immigrants accounted for 14% of tax revenue and only 7% of government spending in 21 years. I'm sorry, 30 years. Even with hourly wages on average, immigrants work more frequently. Even with lower, again, all this is from the Cato Institute. Even with lower hourly wages on average, immigrants work more frequently and therefore pay more taxes per capita. So you can summarize by saying immigrants outwork regular everyday Americans. You don't have to believe me, just look at the data. Less likely, and again, of course, immigrants are less likely to receive Social Security or Medicaid, eligibility and work history limits, of course. And many are ineligible for welfare programs due to immigration status. We know that too. Many arrive as adults, so the U.S. does not pay for their childhood schooling. Even low-skilled immigrants reduce the debt by about $2.8 trillion. Unauthorized immigrants alone likely reduce the deficit by nearly $2 trillion. Without immigrant contribution, total public debt would exceed 200% of GDP. So ABC, I know you're a troll, but so here's an example. So for anybody else, this is a comment. I want to pin this. Here's the problem, because many of you think that way. Many of you who aren't trolls cite a source that many of you have cited in the past, the Cato Institute. And the Cato Institute provides you this information. And I'm reading from this information from the source, okay? I'm reading from the source. So how is it that I'm lying? I don't understand that. Make that make sense. Anyway, the authors of this piece argue that immigrants are not responsible at all and in fact have helped reduce them over the past 3 decades. Again, immigrants, both legal and authorized, reduced the government deficit by $14.5 trillion between 1994 and 2023. Without them, we'd have a $48 trillion deficit. So I would like, at this point in time, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on February the 10th, 2026, to tell everybody who believes that immigrants are a drain on our society to fuck all the way off. Like all the way. Like as far away that you can fuck off as possible. So go fuck all the way off. We've always known this. We've always known the data was there. We've always been able to look at it and say, oh yeah, there's no doubt about the contributions. So again, from this point forward, all of you who believe that immigrants are a drain on our society can fuck all the way off. So that I have no more fucks. You can have them all and you can fuck all the way off. Again, friends, we'll put that article in the Discord if you want to reference it. Highlights $14.5 trillion, a surplus. Without them, we'd be in the fucking hole. So once again, all the way off. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, come here legally or don't come at all. Gotcha. Gotcha, Trump-tastic. Gotcha. Gotcha. You probably won't come up, will you? No, you won't. You'll sit in your little safe space and hide behind your username. Oh, you did come up. So what's the issue? Trump-tastic, what's the issue?
The issue is 1099 employees don't pay shit.
Well, so did you not hear anything that I just said?
I heard what you said, you dumb bastard. I heard you, but you're talking about W-2s, dumbass. You ain't talking about 1099, boy. You ain't talking about 1099, boy.
Uh-huh.
You dumb bastard. If you get that dick out of your mouth, you might be able to read a little better. Them balls is getting in your way, you fag.
So you're a homophobe too. Let's get to that. You see? You see? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? You resort. I know when he was mumbling through his two teeth. You have nothing left but then to attack the host, right? You get so angry. Oh, 1099, don't fucking want to, fucking that. Homophobic slur, homophobic slur, homophobic slur. You see? You see what I'm talking about? It doesn't, like I've told this a million times, friends. Like I didn't share the Cato Institute with them. I shared it with you because they don't give a shit. They'll find some way. Well, it's all 1099. Well, okay, we've got 1099 covered as well. Well, there's 1029. There's no such thing as a 1029. Well, it's 1009. Ain't no such thing as a 1009 either. So, problem is that when your racism is so fucking obvious and you say, I'm not a racist, but yet I don't believe anything about that. Yeah, immigrants are taking all of our shit. We don't need a black national anthem. We shouldn't speak Spanish. Fuck all the way off. And you know the thing about it is I want that angry, mediocre at best white man to have health insurance. I want his children, if he has them, to have access to affordable education. I want his children, if he has them, to have a brighter future than he had. Because that's what love does. I don't give a shit. I don't care. At the end of the day, yes, I care who you vote for, but at the end of the day, I want society to be better. And because of the things that I want, says the white liberal man who lets kids paint his nails. Wow, you're so triggered too. You have to do that in all caps, Bennett? Do you think that bothers me, friend? Do you think that bothers me? You know, because I can look back when my daughter was really young, and how much those moments meant to me to be able to bond with her. And she talks about it, and I talk about it. And this is part of a tribute to her, because my daughter's leaving in 7 months. She's going out into the world. And this is something that connects me to her. And it triggers you, that's just gravy. That's just gravy. So do you think your hatred and your homophobia bothers me? No, bro. No. Nope. It's not going to bother me, friend. It's not. It's just an indication on you, especially when you start typing in all caps. So, there you go. I don't think about Trump 24/7. No, I'm a political content creator and a social commentator, okay? When you talk about politics in the United States, you have to discuss the president. The reason that I discuss the president is because he's a predator, because he's a twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list, predator, fraud, racist. So we have evidence of that. That's why I talk about it. I wouldn't be doing service to my community if I didn't discuss the twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list, predator, racist. So that's how that goes. Sorry, but there you go. Okay, so a couple of great ways to start the day today. Anyway, long story short, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. And our guest and our commenter could probably use a little love in their life. Probably, just a little. Anywho. All right, so let's get into the events of yesterday. So in case you were unaware, there was rumors of Ghislaine Maxwell taking the fifth, and she did. So let's cover some of that sound, and then we can. I want to go back to the story. Actually, let me do that first. So the House Oversight Committee's scheduled closed-door deposition of trafficker and offender and predator Ghislaine Maxwell when as expected. The one-time British socialite refusing to answer any questions related to disgraced financier J.E. and their alleged crime. But Maxwell's legal team signaled that she was open to sharing everything she knows about the situation if the president offers her a federal commutation or pardon. Now, I hate it when I'm right, but I told you guys last week that that's how this is probably going to go. Because I feel like the president can figure out a way to get out of this by commuting her. Easier to defend the commutation than it is to have her talk. Easier to defend her getting pardoned than to have her name names, right? So I can guarantee you, interestingly enough, she didn't take the fifth when she was talking to Todd Blanche when he went and interviewed her at her Club Fed. Didn't take the fifth then, but takes the fifth now? Okay. Maxwell's lawyer, David Marcus, told lawmakers that his client invoked her right against self-incrimination because she is currently challenging her conviction, which he said stems from a fundamentally unfair trial. Okay, if this committee and the American public truly want to hear the unfiltered truth about what happened, there is a straightforward path. Ms. Maxwell is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by the president. Marcus said that Maxwell's perspective would help absolve prominent people who've been questioned over their past links to Jeffrey, including Bill Clinton and Trump himself. Now, you don't have to be the brightest bulb on the tree to understand what's going on there. She couldn't just come out and say, hey, Trump did nothing wrong, because then it would just be like, give us a fucking break. His name's in the files more than anybody's. And then to be able to offer a little bit to the left, she said, well, we'll absolve, or a little bit to the right, we'll absolve Clinton too. Come on. Come on. Only she can provide, quote, only she can provide the complete account. Some may not like what they hear, but the truth matters. For example, both President Trump and President Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. Ms. Maxwell alone can explain why, and the public is entitled to that explanation, Marcus said. Okay. Trump, who previously had a decades-long relationship. Well, first of all, to our chirpers in the chat this morning, how do you feel about that? Because you've already, unlike what you accuse us of, you've already convicted Bill Clinton. And now Ghislaine Maxwell is saying, well, he did nothing wrong. So do you believe her? You shouldn't. We don't. We don't believe her. The reason that we don't believe her is because she has a history of lying. And we're going to go through that in just a moment. So sit down, get yourself a cup of coffee, maybe another Pop-Tart, and buckle up. Trump, who previously had a decades-long relationship with Jeffrey, has yet to rule out the possibility of a pardon. In October, the president said he would, quote, have to take a look at it. Coincidentally, that was right around the same time, I think it was a little bit earlier, that Todd Blanche had a sit-down with Ghislaine. Okay. When asked by a reporter, and he said he would consult with the Justice Department, speculation over the likelihood of a federal intervention in Maxwell's favor has grown in recent months after she was relocated to a minimum security prison camp in Texas following a meeting with Deputy AG Todd Blanche, sparking allegations of preferential treatment. Yeah. She was in jail, and she got moved to fucking Club Fed. You know, she gets puppy playtime. She gets special food orders. She gets alone time where other inmates don't. Yeah, Maxwell was sentenced to 20 years on federal trafficking charges in 2022. She later sought to appeal her conviction to the U.S. Supreme Court, which declined to hear her appeal. James Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, called Maxwell's decision to invoke the Fifth very disappointing. What the fuck did you think she was going to say, dipshit? What do you think she was going to say? And now you thought you had the goods on Bill Clinton, didn't you? And you thought you were gonna win. Well, the Clintons are like, fuck all y'all. Why are we not doing this in public? Why do you want to go behind closed doors, Jim? Ghislaine Maxwell apparently is going to clear the president, so what's the point anyway? Jim? Okay. Quote, we had many questions to ask about the crimes she and Jeffrey committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators. We sincerely want to get to the truth of the American people and justice for the survivors. Are you fucking kidding me, Jim? Then why did you vote initially no? Why were you not one of the people that signed on to the oversight or to the Transparency Act? Why is that, Jim? When I go to DC during my travels, I'm going to be knocking on your door, you fuck. I'm going to ask you that question because the media won't ask it. If you claim so badly that you wanted this to go public and you want to get the truth out, then why did you not vote initially for the Transparency Act? You fuck. You pathetic fuck. Why is that? Okay. I'm angry today, in case you haven't figured that out. And I don't like being angry, so I'm working through it. We sincerely want to get the truth out to the American people and justice for the survivors. This is what this investigation is about. Comer confirmed there are 5 additional upcoming depositions related to Jeffrey investigation, including Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who have called for a public hearing on the matter. Bill has denounced the private deposition as a closed-door kangaroo court. Pam Bondi scheduled to appear tomorrow. We will, if depending on the time, we will carry it for you. Yes. We're all perpetually angry. No doubt about it. Mark, good morning, Mark. How are you, friend?
I'm doing okay. Thanks, Steve, for having me up. I just wanted to ask about your prompt here. As an LGBTQ man and the target of many political campaign, I find this prompt a little bit idealistic because from my perspective, hate seems to win elections, especially in the age of Donald Trump, right? I mean, even Hillary Clinton had the slogan, if you remember, that love trumps hate during the 2016 election cycle. So why does hate seem to win elections?
I don't think that's the point, Mark. What do you think is more powerful, love or hate?
Oh, well, definitely love. I think that's more, definitely it should overcome it, right? But I mean, there's a myriad of decades of political campaigns that have been run on attacking other groups of people, and they've been successful. So, I mean, it doesn't seem to be in politics that loving and appreciating one another, especially marginalized groups, works to win elections. And I think there's psychological studies.
I understand.
Sorry.
No, I understand that, Mark. I understand that, but you've got to look at this. I'm not saying you have to, but I think people should look at this beyond politics, right? The only thing more powerful that love and hate, like there's a famous song by the Avett Brothers called "The Battle of Love and Hate." And how they they mirror one another. They walk in the same path. The question, because they're deep, deep, deep emotions. Now, I understand that hateful messaging is something that wins elections. I get that. The question, though, or the prompt says the only thing more powerful than hate is love. And if you don't believe that, then we've already lost.
No, I definitely believe that. It's just that there's definitely psychological studies that show negative emotions stay with people longer, make a more powerful impact, especially when people are going to the voting booths, than positive emotions. Definitely Kamala Harris tried to run her campaign on positive emotions, that she said she was going to be a president for all people, not just some people, and that didn't resonate with enough people to win. So, I just think in the political spectrum, it's idealistic.
Right, but is that a political statement right there? You took it as one, but is that a political statement?
No, not overall, general. And I don't mean to be pessimistic. I love your show, and I agree with everything you're saying. That's my question. If the only thing more powerful than hate is love, then why does hate seem to win the day when it comes to elections?
Oh, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. Hateful messaging is absolutely a contributing factor in elections. I completely agree. My point is, if we are just resigned to that fact, then what is the point of trying to be better to your neighbor or trying to be a more loving and caring and compassionate individual? Because I firmly believe there are more people that would choose love over hate. So that's sort of my point. I'm not dismissing what you're saying. That's absolutely factually accurate. But if we just lean in now and say, oh, well, hate's going to win every single time, then what's the point? You know what I mean?
No,
I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to change your mind, Mark. I'm just trying to say that this oftentimes my backgrounds are intended to spark conversation, which is what it's doing. And I do not disagree with you that hate wins elections. I get it. Think about the last campaign. Think about the multiple campaigns. Primarily from the Republicans, because they can't run on policy. So they use hate, right? Which is why up until the last election, Democrats always win the popular vote, because the messaging resonated with more people. From my empathetic heart, if we just decide that, oh, well, hate's going to win every time, what's the point? Then we've lost. Then there's no reason to fight anymore. You have to be fighting for something. I'm fighting for people. I'm fighting for your rights. You're fighting for my daughter's rights. I'm fighting for the rights of other people. And I lean in on love to be able to do that. That's sort of the fuel for me. Again, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just trying to offer my perspective on it.
I just, especially when it comes to voting, I voted in every major election since I was 20. And especially when it comes from what I've seen with especially these red pill young men, that hating on another group seems to resonate with them more than appreciating other cultures. And I'm not sure what we can do to reverse that. And I'm working on finding solutions to reverse some of the damage of the CKs and groypers and that, especially in young men, that I've seen that they don't care about anything except for themselves and hating other people. And I'm not sure. Like
self-loathing. It's like self-loathing in a way.
Yeah. All right. But thank you for having me up.
You know where this comes from, right? Did you watch the Super Bowl? This is from Bad Bunny's performance. Oh yeah. This was behind him.
I loved it. I thought Lady Gaga was such a surprise, and I loved.
Yeah.
I didn't because I don't understand Spanish. I didn't understand, but I understood the music, and I really appreciated the style and the performance overall. I thought it was wonderful. Yeah.
No, and believe me, I get what you're saying. It's not missed on me. I guess I would just ask people to say, if we are just going to resign, if we're just going to be resigned to the fact that hate's going to always win, there has to be a counter. There's the yin and the yang. There's the dark and there's the evil and the good. You can't have one without the other. The question is, in this particular fight, which one is going to win? And I firmly believe that love has to win, and we have to let love rule. That's the point. But I appreciate our conversation as always, Mark. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Again, it's a fair point. I totally understand. I mean, it's not lost on me. I just, being an empath, if we just decide that we're already done and hate's just going to win, I can't double down on hatred. Maybe other people can. You know, it's not hate. When I talk about the president, it's not hate. I don't walk around with hate. That's just me. And we joke about it, but I don't walk around with hatred. That's the curse of the empath, right? I walk around with anger towards things. It's more like disgust. And I'm just disgusted by what I see. How lies and the manipulation and using children, as we've learned, as experiments. That's not hatred. It's disgust. It's disgust. So when I talk about the only thing more powerful than hate is love, that's because I believe it. And I think a lot of people do, right? I think a lot of people do. And I always say that this is really the time for empaths. We all have to step up big time. We got to fill the void. I'm a big believer in the karmic balance of the universe. And for a long time, the karmic balance has been shifting a little bit. We've got to bring it back a little bit. So that requires people who are empathetic and people who aren't necessarily fueled by hatred have got to lean in harder. I completely get what Mark's a smart guy. We've had great conversations. I completely get it. Yes, hateful rhetoric wins elections. It's got to be more, though, than just elections. This is a humanity perspective, I guess is probably the way I would look at it. But thanks for that conversation, Mark. I appreciate you. It does take more energy. It takes a lot more energy to hate than it does to love. You're right, Jamie. Hey, brother, how are you?
Hey, buddy. I just wanted to do a quick response to Mark. I want to use a quote from I think one of the greatest books written and a great movie, Green Mile by Stephen King. He says they killed them with their love for each other. It's how it is all across the world every day. They weaponize love. They say, if you don't get rid of the immigrant, they're going to kill the people you love. They're going to take the jobs away from people you love. So they use that love to create a fear. Okay? That's what we have to remember, is that they're kind of taking that love and they're twisting it. Love is far more powerful than hate, but they use it against us.
Stay close.
And that's what happened in the
Stay closer to your mic.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry, I'm wandering.
No, I agree, and that's sort of my point, right? Because I really feel like we're at this point where the conservative movement, the Christian nationalists, the racists, the bigots, the grape apologists, they are just hammering on us with all of their hateful rhetoric. And the question is, are we going to be this wall of resistance that's painted in rainbow colors, that's adorned in light and love and happiness? Are we going to use that as our defense, or are we just going to let them run over us? And if you want to fight fire with fire, I don't necessarily think you do that. I think you fight fire with water. And the water in this case, this may be me being completely just ridiculous and naive. I just genuinely believe that love wins. I have to believe that. I have to.
Yeah. What are we doing if we don't believe that?
Exactly. That's the point for me.
All right, buddy. I just wanted to say that because I see where Mark's coming from, but he needs to understand that part of it as well.
Yeah, agreed, and I think he does. I mean, I think it's because of a political. Because we look at everything politically, and I don't see this as a political statement. And I think that's the danger of where we are now, is that we look at everything politically, and I just don't see that as a political statement. I see that as a humanistic statement.
I think the problem is that people see it as political. I mean, that's where we're at. Is that it should be everybody should look at that and say, yeah, absolutely. But now it's like, oh, well, you believe that because you're left or right. No, because I'm a friggin' human being.
Exactly.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks as always, bro. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Be safe out there. This is why I always say you guys are the smartest chat on TikTok, is we can have these conversations. To me, that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point to me, right? If we give up on that, like this whole do something tour, like I don't have to go out on the road and do this shit. I want to because I care about people. I want people's lives to be better. I want people to realize that they do have a voice. And we just have to decide what we want our future to look like. Do we want to be run by Christian nationalists? Do we want to be told how to think? Do we want to be told what our freedoms are? Or do we want to stand in the breach and say, no, not on my watch, not going to happen? That's what this is about to me. So, yeah. Anyway, everybody keep tapping and sharing, please. Appreciate you. Taco Cat, how are you today?
Very well, sir. I appreciate the time.
No problem. We've talked before, and hold on. Of course. We've talked before, and if you can avoid just some just angry bullshit, I'll have a conversation with you. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what that means, but sure.
Okay.
I would like to hone in on it because what I feel the problem is it's so general. The debates of things like systematic racism or
it's systemic.
Thank you,
not systematic.
Thank you. Systemic or
Do you know what that means though?
That it comes from within.
No,
it's not written in the books.
No. The entire system was built on white supremacy and racism.
Wow. And then I say, what system?
That's true, though.
What system?
Everything. Our system of government, our system of industry, capitalism, you name it. The entire system.
I want you to hear that as a group saying we want to use love as our voice when really you're saying every job you have from here on out is about getting your black ass to the bottom of the totem pole.
Okay, you can get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit. You see, you try to have conversations, but you can't, right? So when you are fueled with hatred and racism and white supremacy, you just can't accept it and have a conversation. Instead, you want to come up and spread your bullshit. I gave you an opportunity, right? I gave you an opportunity, and you chose not to take it. So there you go. There you go. You have a day. You have the day that you deserve. How about that? Yeah, not here. They don't know history. Well, they don't want to know the history. Sapphire, looks like you might have timed out. Yep, sorry. Okay, and I've got one more request. And by the way, Taco Cat's in here pretty much every day, so he's got a mad crush on me. He won't admit it though. Don't worry, friend. By the way, you left your underwear. D-Mine, you're unable to connect as well. So. Anyway, yeah, exactly. Was it Christian love? Exactly. Again, the point that I'm trying to make here, and I completely respect Mark's perspective. We have to be able to separate the political with the human. Okay? So I am a humanist, which means I just care about people. I really do. I care. I want Taco Cat to have health insurance. I want Taco Cat's family to be able to have access to capital. I want Taco Cat's family to be able to buy homes if they decide to do so. I want Taco Cat's family to have access to higher education. I want them to have a tax system that works for them to benefit them, right? So that's what humans do. That's what humans do. I can despise your vote. I can question you. I can call out your racism and your bigotry. It doesn't change the fact that I still want you to have those things, because if I know that if you have them, that means that I have them. That means that other people have them as well. That's the point. That's what humanists do when we care about other people. Unlike our previous guest, who doesn't give a fuck about anybody but himself, and he'll double down on his racism. Even give it an opportunity, to talk and have an intelligent conversation. Nope. There you go. Anyway. It's fine. I'm sure I'll get a death threat at some point today. Christelle, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind? Can you turn the music down, please?
Oh, sorry. My daughter's watching TV. I apologize.
No problem.
No, I'll get to a corner space. I just wanted to say, yeah, I understand the guy's point about like hate, winning political elections and stuff like that. Half my family thinks that way. So I think that sometimes, though, people who claim to be Christian that are on that side then see that sign as more of like a conviction of, if you know that love is better than hate, why are you supporting such a hateful rhetoric? And I feel like that's just a conviction for people, and maybe that just makes them do like a self-awareness and they don't like it. I'm wondering if that has a lot to do with it too.
Oh, you mean so you feel that? Well, Mark wasn't MAGA, first of all.
I know.
So you're saying that so MAGA would get offended by this because they can say that they love humanity because of their Christian faith, and they don't ever want to be considered somebody who's hateful, maybe? So it's this contradiction in their head?
Yeah, it's a contradiction in their head. So like, they're like, oh, I have to love everybody, but now I'm convicted because now most of my politics want to like demonize or dehumanize people. And then they get convicted by it and they don't like the feeling. So they just lash out instead of actually doing the work and changing themselves.
I think it's a fair point. That's exactly right. Or they don't see themselves as hateful. Like we always talk about this.
Right.
People who are racist don't think that things that Donald Trump has said is racist. Or Charlie
Absolutely.
Kirk,
because he had tapped into their fear. Right. He tapped into their fear, and now they're validating because someone else said it, so it's got to be true. And now I've got to fully melt my religion with my politics. So if I say my politics wrong, now I'm saying my religion's wrong, instead of just separating the two.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. And that's a cult, Crystal.
Right. Exactly.
you are blanketed in other people having the same beliefs as you. You can't challenge that, because if you do, then you're challenging your entire belief set. It's so funny that the right for years has talked about the left being about identity politics. MAGA is the definition of identity politics. You are connected to an identity. If you step out from it, you've lost your sense of self, which I get it. It's scary for people to be in it. Leaving the cult, it's no different than leaving the church.
Absolutely. And if you can't question it, because if you question it, now you're calling everything wrong, and cults can't stand questions and doubts, but truth can, and that's what they can't get.
Correct. Thank you for your perspective. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
No problem. Have a great day, sir.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye. I love that conversation. You guys are fucking smartest chat on TikTok. I say it every fucking day. I got to tell you. Let me just check in real quick here. Friends, again, we are... I want to thank a few people. Wow, Anthony, thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Anthony. Do something. I requested Jukebox Hero during the weekend. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that for your amazing contribution. That's very kind of you, Anthony. Be more, appreciate you very, very much. I'll update this over the course of the morning. This part of what you see here, I think I have the background. I need to be talked about this a bit more, only because there's a lot going on. So this is, as when the show started this morning, we were at $884 as we marched toward 25K. The $25,000 is so that I can go out on the road. This is going to include transportation, taxes, fees, gas, lodging, food, dog food, insurance, event fees, and to cover some of my costs as well, because I'm pausing my day-to-day job so I can go do this. So this is going to be this community supporting what we're trying to do here. For more information on the Do Something Tour, you can go to, that sounds like a commercial. For more information on the Do Something Tour, go to the Discord. You go down to announcements. You'll find the Do Something channel. You can also go to the Facts HQ merch store at Facts HQ or at factsstillmatter.site. You can find some information about the Do Something Tour there. Please follow us on Instagram. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that, and also subscribe to Twitch. So there'll be more updates to come. Thank you guys for that. I appreciate you all. All right, back to the show. Okay, and the thing that I think, this is the most important detail for me that I want you all to know. We will track every single dollar that we spend. Every single dollar, you'll know the money's coming in. That's why we're going to track the amount raised, and then we will have an accounting. We'll probably do it in Discord. We'll update people daily, but the plan is to start in Buffalo, New York, head south down through the Ohio River Valley, down through the Ozarks, down to Arkansas, Missouri. Depending on the timing, head east to Georgia. Georgia's a swing state. Head north to North Carolina. North Carolina's a swing state. Head up to Maine, because Maine is also a swing state, potentially for the Senate, and then back to Buffalo, drop off the RV, and head home. That will be the month of April. And if this proof of concept works, then the plan would be to go back out on the road again in September, leading up to the midterm elections in 2026. So I need your help. If you want to see me in your community, I can't promise that I can hit every single community, but I'm going to hit as many as I can. And yes, I will be careful. I appreciate you all very, very much for saying that. Okay. All right. What I want to get into now a little bit is just some more of the contradictions. So like I said earlier, right? To me, it's not just the details that emerge every single day from the statements that are being made. It's just the contradictions, and we can easily disprove them. Okay, so I will be in DC. I'll be going up that way. Yes, the plan is DC. Atlanta, probably not Chicago this time. I'm just not going to have enough time. Lauren, I'm driving. I'm going to be driving an RV. It's going to be me and my dog, or the dog. So it's like a 3,000-mile loop. I appreciate the offer. I love you guys. You're awesome. Appreciate that. Again, you can if you go to the Facts merch store, factsstillmatter.site or Facts HQ, you'll see a link to an email address. If you have interest in either an event in your area, look at it this way. Okay, look at it this way. I will literally go anywhere I can. I will stop on the side of the road. I'll put up a flag and say, "Tell me about do you vote?" Something to that effect. My goal is to not make this, I'm just going to do. The easiest thing for me to do right now, I think, to bring people up to speed in case you haven't heard it, I'm just going to read you something that I wrote as sort of like an introduction speech. And I think that's just the easiest thing. And then I'll move on to the rest of the show. But just give me a second here. If I can just do this for you guys. I think that will explain a lot. Okay. Okay. So this would either be an introduction. This kind of tells you about it. I want to start with something honest. A lot of people in this country are tired, not just busy tired, but I mean soul tired. Tired of working hard and still feeling like they're falling behind. Tired of watching the news and feeling powerless. Tired of hearing promises every election season and then watching nothing change. And if you've ever felt like your vote doesn't matter, like your voice doesn't count, I want you to know something. You're not alone, and you're not wrong for feeling that way. Because when you feel ignored long enough, you stop believing anyone is listening. And when you stop believing anyone is listening, you stop showing up. Here's one thing that I've learned in my life. The moment good people stop showing up is the moment, hold on. I was cooking. The moment good people stop showing up is the moment the wrong people take over the room. That's why I'm launching something called the Do Something Tour. Not because I think I have the answers, not because I'm here to tell anyone what to think, but because I believe we're losing something precious in this country, and that's our faith in each other. I'm going to travel the country to sit down with people who feel forgotten, people who feel dismissed, people who feel like the system is built for someone else. I'm going to listen. I want to hear what broke your trust. I want to hear what you've lived through. I want to hear what you wish the people in power actually understood about you and your life. Because the truth is, democracy isn't a speech. It's not a slogan. It's not something that happens once every 4 years. Democracy is people. It's parents trying to keep their kids safe. It's workers trying to keep food on the table. It's communities trying to stay whole. It's people who don't want to be a headline. They just want to be okay. And I know this. If we want change, we can't just hope for it. We have to participate in it. I'm not asking anyone to be perfect. I'm not asking you to know every issue. I'm not asking you to trust politicians. I'm asking you to trust your own worth. To remember that your voice matters, even if it's been ignored. To remember that your vote matters, even if it hasn't felt like it. And to remember that your presence matters, because this country belongs to you too. So this is my invitation. Come back in, not because the system deserves you, but because your community does. Your kids do. Your future does. This is the Do Something Tour. And if you've ever felt powerless, I want you to hear me clearly. You still have power. Let's do something together. That's the pitch. More details to come. Short term, anything you can do to help support our cause, we'd appreciate that. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Snarly. I appreciate you. I do write for work, so hopefully, hopefully it resonates with people. Otherwise, I might need to find a new profession. All right. So I want to get back to what we were just discussing, because again, truth to power, right? We're trying to remind people of the things that should really be important about protecting the innocents. So one of the things that I have focused on a lot has been the changing narrative, right? So I'm first going to play you a series of a couple of statements, and we're going to talk about the invalidity of any claims that Ghislaine Maxwell has about telling the truth. Actually, let me start there. As you know, she has been convicted of numerous crimes. We'll get into that in just a moment. But let's talk about her history of dishonesty. This goes back, so this is compiled by Politico, AP, Reuters. There's a couple of references here to ABC, the BBC, the Guardians, a whole bunch of stuff. For years, Maxwell portrayed J.E. This is from the 2000s to 2010s, basically. For years, Maxwell portrayed J.E. as a misunderstood financier or a close friend unfairly targeted by accusations. She frequently dismissed reports of abuse as, quote, lies or exaggerations, claimed she had no knowledge of underage victims. Later contradictions. At her 2021 criminal trial, multiple victims, survivors, testified that Maxwell personally recruited and groomed them and participated in the abuse. Evidence showed she arranged travel, participated in sexualized encounters, and then normalized abuse to minors. The jury ultimately rejected her claims of ignorance and found her guilty on multiple counts. One of the clearest court-established examples of her lying came from a 2016 sworn deposition. The reason I'm mentioning this to you is because of the claims that her lawyer made that if the president pardoned her, right? If the president pardoned her, she would then go public and say, Bill Clinton and Mr. President had nothing to do with this. Okay, got it. One of the clearest court-established examples of lying came from a 2016 sworn deposition in a civil defamation case brought by accuser Virginia Dufresne. Under oath, Maxwell testified, again, under oath, at trial, Maxwell testified that she never recruited any underage girls, had no involvement in Jeffrey's sexual abuse, and had no knowledge of any activity with minors. Okay, those were her claims. Under oath, she said that in her trial. Prosecutors later said witness testimony and documents contradicted all of her statements, and the victims directly described Maxwell's involvement. In 2020, federal prosecutors charged Maxwell with 2 counts of perjury. These charges were based specifically on false statements she made under oath in her deposition. Also, contradictions about her role in Jeffrey's organization. I'm trying to paint the picture here because this has been underreported. I just want to make sure that we're aware, because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to give you the statements that have been contradicted by the president as well from a new drop of documents in the files. That's why I'm going through this exercise. Her claims, her claims in her relationship with Jeffrey. She was merely a social acquaintance. She said that she was not part of his business or sexual activities, and she did not manage staff related to the abuse. The evidence, though, contradicts that. Testimony that Maxwell did, in fact, schedule massages for minors, train girls how to behave with Jeffrey, and was present during the abuse. Flight records and household testimony linking her to operations also included, and that she was a central participant, not a bystander, the jury ruled. After his conviction in 2008, after he pled guilty in Florida in 2008, Maxwell's position was that she continued to socialize publicly, maintain that accusations were false or exaggerated, and then defended Epstein in private and social settings. Contradictions. By late 2010s, numerous additional victims had come forward. Investigative journalism uncovered settlement records, internal documents, extensive victim accounts. These revelations contradicted years of public denials. After her arrest in July 20, her defense was she was being scapegoated for Jeffrey. She was not involved in any of the trafficking. In December 21, federal jury convicted her on 5 of 6 counts, including trafficking of a minor, conspiracy to entice minors, transportation of a minor for illegal sexual activity. She was sentenced in 2022 to 20 years in federal prison. That's the person that is asking for a commutation. Okay? That is the person who has gone on the record and been disproven, charged with perjury, lie after lie after lie after lie. And again, the statement from her attorney is this. Marcus said that Maxwell's perspective would help to absolve prominent people who've been questioned over their past links to Jeffrey, including former President Clinton and Trump himself. Quote, only she can provide the complete account. Some may not like what they hear, but the truth matters. For example, both President Trump and President Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. Ms. Maxwell alone can explain why, and the public is entitled to that explanation. We can't believe anything she says. Anything. Can't believe anything she says. Because she's got nothing to lose. She's already going to be in jail for the next 20 years or 18 years at this point. 19, whatever the number is. She's got nothing to lose. She will lie like she's always lied. So the question then becomes to our friends on the right who are convinced that Bill Clinton is guilty but Trump isn't. And then Ghislaine Maxwell comes out with a statement and says, thank you. That's cool. Then Ghislaine Maxwell comes out with a statement and says, oh, well, I can totally prove that neither Clinton nor Trump did any of these horrible crimes. So then what is the right going to do with that statement now? How are you going to play that? Are you going to suddenly be like, okay, then Clinton's not guilty either? Do you see why it's so easy to poke holes in this bullshit? You probably don't care. Okay, so I just want a couple of things. First, you'll hear her words. It's a brief snippet. She introduced her testimony yesterday by saying this.
Are you aware of Donald Trump ever engaging in sexual activity with an individual introduced to him by you or Jeffrey Epstein?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Here that is again.
Are you aware of Donald Trump ever engaging in sexual activity with an individual introduced to him by you or Jeffrey Epstein?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Okay. You heard that. You heard the question that was asked, right? A similar question was asked of J.E. back in 2010. A similar question was asked of him, and I'll play the sound for you. Here's a pattern here.
A relationship with Donald Trump.
The question was, did you have a relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships? Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What do you mean by a personal relationship? Did you socialize with him? Yes, sir.
Yes. Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Question was, did you ever socialize with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
No, I'd like to answer that question, at least today. I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights.
Though I'd like to answer that question today, I'm going to invoke my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights. Similar question, right? Similar question. Similar question. Neither one of them would answer that question. Specifically, Epstein admitted that he had a relationship with Trump. Epstein said to Michael Wolff that Donald was his best friend for 10 years, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fast forward to a statement that the president has made about taking the fifth. The current president has made about taking the 5th. Okay? Let's just play that.
When you have your staff taking the 5th Amendment.
This is the debate with Hillary. By the way, somebody asked the question, is Ghislaine Maxwell a citizen? She's a naturalized U.S. citizen. Yes.
Taking the 5th, so they're not prosecuted. When you have the man that set up the illegal server taking the 5th, I think it's disgraceful.
5th Amendment. The mob takes the 5th. If you're innocent, why are you taking the 5th Amendment?
5th Amendment. Horrible. Horrible.
He pleaded the 5th, and that was the end. We never heard about him again.
This is like Watergate, only it's worse. Because here, our foreign enemies were in a position to hack our most sensitive national security secrets.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want.
Point is, right? Our president has taken the 5th hundreds of times. He's lied in his depositions. He's taken the 5th for self-incrimination. J.E. has taken the 5th for self-incrimination. Ghislaine Maxwell taken the 5th in regards to self-incrimination. And here we are. Here we are that you're only mob bosses and criminals take the 5th. Okay. Now that we've level setted that, I want to talk about what we've learned in recent days about these claims of when the relationship ended. So Jamie Raskin, Jamie Raskin's great. Jamie Raskin, I go back and forth. Do I want Jamie Raskin to be a Supreme Court judge in future administration, or do I want him to be the AG? And it's a coin flip, to be honest. I think I'd love to see him as the AG because we would hear from him more than if he were a Supreme Court justice. But anyway, here's this statement. So what we're talking about now, I'm gonna pivot into the reason I wanted to play the lies connection to it, because we know our president just lies about everything. So I want to use some of the things that we learned yesterday from the release of some of these documents, and then compare that to statements made by the White House, by Caroline Leavitt, and by Mr. Trump himself. Here you go. This has to do with the time frame. Like I said before, one of the things that I have focused on a lot during this entire Epstein situation is the contradictions. Trying to say, okay, you said this, but that's not what the documents say. So just kind of uncover the series of lies and the defenses of their lies and their bullshit to try to say, oh, I had nothing to do with this.
Sent forth its so-called privilege log. So it's not explained yet why there might be certain redactions that have been made. I saw one document which was an email that was sent by Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell, which was the forward of an email that he had received from some of his lawyers giving an account of a conversation between Epstein lawyers and Trump lawyers and others about what had taken place during that 2009 period. It was during the period of the 2009 investigation. And Epstein's lawyers synopsized and quoted Trump as saying that that Jeffrey Epstein was not a member of his club at Mar-a-Lago, but he was a guest at Mar-a-Lago, and he had never been asked to leave. And that was redacted for some indeterminate, inscrutable reason. I know it seems to be at odds with some things that President Trump has been saying recently about how he had kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club or asked him to leave, and this was at least one report that appears to contradict.
There's that. Okay. I'm also going to introduce you guys to Becca Balint. I don't know if you know Becca Balint. Becca Balint is my representative. She is the one and only rep from Vermont. She's a former educator. I've sat on a panel with Becca Balint. I've been at speaking events with her. I've been to town halls hosted by her. She's the kind of, I'm proud to say she's our sole representative. She was part, because Congress got access to these files yesterday. And the reporter asking her this question asked the same question that I just asked about, did you find anything that contradicts any statements made? So in typical Vermonter fashion, pulling no punches.
You have the unredacted files over at the DOJ, the Epstein files?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I just came from there.
What can you tell us?
There's a bunch of sick fucks.
And I mean, anything more that we don't know? I feel like that's pretty well established.
I know. I think the part that is just so disgusting is that so many people knew.
Did he have any ties to any intelligence agencies? We've established some in our reporting, but wanted to know based on the file.
I only had about a half hour, so I'm going to go back again tomorrow. Okay. So mostly today I was just trying to go through a couple documents that was particularly interested in finding out.
What were those?
One was related to whether or not Trump, had ever kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, as he claimed.
What'd you find?
It's not true.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
So there's that. That's Becca Balint. Somebody said that's Vermont nice. Yeah, a bunch of sick fucks. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, I've been to town halls with her, and she'll just drop F-bombs all the time. I like politicians who speak like that. That was Becca Balint. She's Vermont's lone representative to Congress. So Jamie Raskin finds this information that says, nope. There was the statements being made that you kicked him out. No, you actually did. Okay, so then let's go back in time a little bit further. Let's go back to some of the statements that have been made about that. So we'll start first with Caroline Leavitt, okay? Here you go.
Can you address their substance? Did the president ever spend hours at Jeffrey Epstein's house with a victim?
These emails prove absolutely nothing other than the fact that President Trump did nothing wrong. And what President Trump has always said is that he was from Palm Beach, and so was Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago until President Trump kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and he was a creep.
Okay, so there's that statement, right? So that seems to contradict quite a bit, right? So there's evidence of the time. It's like that 15-year time window, right? There's that. And we have the president saying this.
At the time he threw him out of Mar-a-Lago, can you settle that? What was it about? What caused the breach for him?
That's such old history. Very easy to explain, but I don't want to waste your time by explaining it. But for years, I wouldn't talk to Jeffrey Epstein. I wouldn't talk because he did something that was inappropriate. He hired help. And I said, don't ever do that again. He stole people that worked for me. I said, don't ever do that again. He did it again. And I threw him out of the place, persona non grata. I threw him out, and that was it. I'm glad I did, if you want to know the truth.
There were new.
Okay, so how do we square that, right? How do we square it? Because that has been the double down forever. There was initial reporting about a real estate transaction gone bad, right? Caroline Leavitt says he kicked him out because Jeffrey Epstein was a creep. Trump says, I kicked him out because he stole employees. And now it looks like that entire thing has gone the way of the dodo. There's also reporting from the Daily Beast that during some of the files that have been released, that Jeffrey said he was hanging with the Trump boys after the 2016 election. In a message sent let me see, this is the date of this. On December the 25th that year, following Trump's victory in 2016 in the November election, the convicted offender wrote to Bill Gates' advisor, Boris Nikolic, I'm in Palm with all the Trump boys, equals fun. Okay. So let's go to the tape. I was curious because I went back and I wanted to check all the times the story changed, right? That all the times the story changed. Now what we know, right? What we know is child sexual abuse doesn't matter to MAGA. Assault against women doesn't matter. None of the crimes themselves seem to matter because they keep telling us that unless there's a camera in the room, they won't believe it. So I'm trying to take a different tact, right? I'm trying to say, okay, well, according to this, the lie he told you was a lie. I don't think it will matter, but I want to, if anybody hears this, there might be a few people that might be listening going, holy fuck. He told us they didn't talk for 15 years, and there's an email that said he was going to hang out with the Trump boys in December of 2016. That wouldn't track. Caroline Leavitt said that he kicked him out because he was a creep. Trump said he kicked him out because he stole employees, so that doesn't track. And, of course, we have more information. So give me a minute to kind of get through this because there's a lot here. He being Trump, has repeatedly claimed that he kicked Jeffrey out of Mar-a-Lago, but the evidence, the timelines are certainly disputed. He said that he banned, this is from the Washington Post, he said he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after inappropriate behavior with the staff or guests. He said Epstein stole young women who worked at his spa, they were girls, and that was why he cut ties. Some reports say the ban came after a spa worker complained about sexual pressure in 2003. Other accounts describe a later incident involving a member's teenage daughter. So those stories differ. There's a whole variety of them. Evidence supporting the ban claim. Several reports, again, this is from Yahoo News, this is from Forbes. Several reports and statements align with Trump's version. Some files and accounts say that Trump expelled Jeffrey and supported police actions against him. Media reports cite staff complaints that led Jeffrey to being barred from spa services or the club. According to Becca Ballant, from the documents that they saw yesterday, according to Jamie Raskin, from the documents they saw yesterday, he was not a member. He wasn't ever kicked out. We'll get into that in just a second. Other sources challenge the idea that Trump banned Epstein at all. Newly reviewed unredacted documents reportedly include a 2009 email saying Trump never asked Epstein to leave and that he was only a guest. Some investigations found that Epstein may have remained a member for years after Trump said he banned him. Fact checks noted that the timeline of their falling out is unclear and inconsistent at best. Trump and Epstein were socially connected from the late 1980s to the early 2000s. Trump says he banned or cut ties with Epstein. Then what's been disputed, whether or not it was an actual ban, when the split happened, the real reason for the falling out. You get the point, right? You get the point. Ghislaine Maxwell, a known liar, perjured herself, serving 20 years in jail for her crimes against children. Trafficking, exploitation, conspiracy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Said that she would go on the record and say that she would, as long as she gets a commutation and or a pardon, right? You can get a pardon. A pardon includes a commutation. A commutation doesn't necessarily include a pardon. A commutation would just mean your sentence is suspended, you're still convicted, okay? That she would tell the world that Trump and Clinton did nothing wrong. And I already saw a comment go by this morning from somebody who I know is a Trump supporter, and that comment was, Clinton didn't do anything, neither did Trump, get over it. That's your defense now. You're going to take whose word for it? 2 days ago, you were all about, hey, Clinton's guilty. Trump's not, but Clinton is. Now you're like, well, Clinton's not guilty, neither is Trump. Move on. Virginia Giuffre was a minor at Mar-a-Lago when she was there. She was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell, groomed by Ghislaine Maxwell, brought into the Epstein orbit, and then raped by Jeffrey Epstein and others, and then took her own life. We know that to be true. Those are the facts. Some of the statements that Trump has made. This goes back to October the 28th, 2002. Trump. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. We have women in common. Many of them are on the younger side. Okay, good to know. Trump, years later, said he and his team claimed that he kicked Epstein out or banned him for being a creep and that he cut ties a long time ago. Wall Street Journal reporting December 30th of last year describes Mar-a-Lago spa employees being sent to Epstein's home for services. Ending after a reported 2003 complaint by an 18-year-old worker, the story says Trump was informed and Epstein was then banned. This is reported testimony and or accounts from former employees, not a publicly released ban letter shown in the article summary. Again, to summarize, the information that was learned yesterday, Jamie Raskin, Becca Bowen, and others say, no, that doesn't track at all. It doesn't track at all. Never a member, only a guest, still relationships. I'm hanging with the Trump boys. I'm hanging with the Trump boys. That was in 2016. That certainly wasn't 15 years ago. How do you know it was all the Trump? How do you know it wasn't? With the Trump boys? Okay. So are we going to bring Don Jr. in next? We're going to bring Eric in? We're going to bring the president in? Probably not, right? Okay. Let me see if I can summarize this whole thing here. There's also emails attributed to Jeffrey that came out in the files that claim Trump knew about the girls. There are assertions inside correspondence, not adjudicated findings by themselves. Any sensational claims surfaced via intake and or tips should be treated as accusations unless corroborated, agreed. Numerous statements of DOJ, FBI complaints. Again, those are allegations. We all can agree on that. But the fact that his name is in these files more than anybody else goes without saying. All right. A few other things here. I covered that. What time is it? Okay. Now I want to get into some of the statements made by some of the members of Congress who saw a lot of these files, and I want to start with Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, because they've been front and center on this thing, and I don't agree with their politics, at least Thomas Massie's politics. He's voted with Donald Trump like 95% of the time, but I respect what he's done, and I respect that he's standing with survivors. And he drew the line. He's like, we can talk about economic policy, we can talk about tax policy, we can talk about immigration. That's fine. But I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to defend survivors. So they came out of this hearing and they had this to say.
That bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files. So that's the first thing that I saw. It took some digging to find them. Then I'll let you talk about what you saw.
Well, and we discussed that. I mean, there are 6 men, some of them with their photographs that have been redacted, and there's no explanation why those people were redacted. And Thomas discovered it through his MIT logic with some of the searches. But, you know, that's really concerning.
There are 6 men. We went in there for 2 hours. There's millions of files, right? And in a couple of hours, we found 6 men whose names have been redacted, who are implicated in the way that the files are presented.
What's your message to Pam Bondi after what you saw today?
Need to do a little more work. And we'll see her at the Judiciary Committee here in a couple days.
At the very least, these 6 men, maybe she can make public. I mean, we're happy to provide the information to them, and they should do that.
Are these men U.S. citizens? What fields do they work in? Is it finance? Is it political?
At least one is a U.S. citizen. At least one is a foreigner, and the other 3 or 4 have names. I'm not sure if they're foreign or U.S.
And which field do they work in? Is it finance, banking, political?
One is pretty high up in the foreign government,
and some are. One of the others is a pretty prominent individual. But I think that the point is that these 6 are just what we found in 2 hours of a review of the files that aren't redacted. The broader issue is why so many of the files they're getting are redacted in the first place.
Okay, so that sound came out and there was a little churning. Like, why aren't they just naming names? Well, let me give you a little bit of context on that. Because, well, I'll just read. This is a statement from Thomas Massie, okay? Last night, I received a flash drive containing the complete list of files belonging to JE. Everything is there. Every billionaire, every campaign donor, every single person. Now, let me explain why you haven't heard anything about this in the media. Because they're all in there. They will do everything to prevent these documents from being made public. Jeffrey was far more than just a P3DO. He was an intelligence asset. He was part of a blackmail operation used to control billionaires, politicians, and world leaders. If this list ever sees the light of day, the system as we know it will collapse. The public has the right to know the truth, and I am not afraid to share it. If this list ever sees the light of day, the system as we know it will collapse. The public has the right to know the truth, and I am not afraid to share it. So, there's this thing called the speech and debate clause, right? So if we go back to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the requirements are that the Department of Justice is supposed to release this information. So if we play this out a little bit, right? Thomas Massie, a member of Congress, an author of the co-author of that bill that required the Department of Justice to release everything, names unredacted, and we know the game. And we're going to get. I've got some names. I'll name some names in just a minute here. This was after that statement that he made initially. So he was given a thumb drive with the complete list of files belonging to JE. Everything is in there. Every billionaire, every campaign donor, every single person. Now, let me explain why you haven't heard anything about this in the media, because they're all in there. They will do everything to prevent these documents from being made public. If he were to announce this out in the street, who knows what happens to him legally, right? And personally. If you do it under the protection of the speech and debate clause in Congress, you become protected. Now, I know that sounds kind of dirty and slimy, but I get it. We are really close to getting a lot of names. In fact, I have some that I'll share with you guys in just a second because of some of the information that was redacted. We're really close to having some of these names released. I trust Thomas Massie to do this the right way. I'm sure he's communicated with counsel. I'm sure he's communicated with members of his team. I'm sure he's communicated with leadership and saying, okay, we've got this information. To protect yourself so that you're not exposed to lawsuits, You can do it under the pressure, under the umbrella of speech and debate. But he also said, the public has the right to know the truth, and I am not afraid to share it. Okay. Massey said that he and Khanna just found the real identity of 6 men and Bondi redacted in the files. Massey said he will read them aloud during a congressional hearing. Don't know when that hearing will be. Could be as soon as tomorrow. Could be today. Okay. So a little bit more on that, because I think that is telling that we're starting to get names. Okay. And it's important because of some of the information that is now made public. There is one document. It is, if you go to you can go to the Department of Justice. You can just search for e-files. I will put this file number in I'll have our mods posted in the chat if you want to research it yourself. So this is one of the documents where names are named, okay? This is the title of this is in the Circuit Court of the 15th Judicial District for Palm Beach County, Florida, Civil Division. The name of the plaintiff has been redacted versus J.E., the defendant. Notice of service of plaintiff's unverified better answers to defendant's interrogations. So the plaintiff in this case is being questioned to provide information. If you go down to page 5 of the document, here is the question that's being asked. List the names and addresses of all persons who are believed or known by you, your agents or attorneys, to have any knowledge concerning any of the issues in this lawsuit, and specify the subject matter about which the witness has knowledge. Plaintiff is not yet aware of addresses. However, plaintiff believes that the defendant has all addresses. Okay. I'm going to go through the list because a lot of these names were initially redacted and now they're not. Jean-Luc Brunel, knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Wexner, we have to assume that's Les Wexner. Knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Mark Epstein, that's Jeffrey's brother. Knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Jenny Saunders arranges for underage girls to go to and from Jeff's Island. David Copperfield, knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Donald Trump, knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Ghislaine Maxwell, similar. Cunningham, first name redacted. Same knowledge of finances of defendants of sexual desire for minor girls. Harry Beller, Tony Malata, Igor Zenovi, last name Tagliana, someone in New York. Lawrence Krauss, Mortimer Zuckerman, Mike and someone else's name redacted that could be a minor. Vadwan Kotrin, J.E.'s mother and father, knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Liebert, last name redacted. 3 more redactions. Jans Banasiak, that would be Janvz Banasiak. Michael Reiter, Reiter. I think it's a detective. It'd be DET period. Could be Detective Riccarsi. Bob and Todd Meister. Cecilia Stein. Larry Visosky. Ronald Barron. Glenn, last name redacted. Amy Fortimer. Abigail Wexner. Jeffrey Goldsmith. All those people categorized as this. Knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Sandy Berger. Officer Munyon. Officer Mino. Sergeant Sorge. Pilot David Rogers. Alfredo Rodriguez. Leon Black. Jeff Fuller. Ron Burkle. All people that visited the defendants in jail. All minor females with whom defendant has engaged in sexual activities, included but not limited to those provided in an addendum to the non-prosecution agreement. All plaintiffs with sex abuse claims against defendant, those listed in police reports and documents by Palm Beach Police. All those people had knowledge of finances and defendant's desire for minor girls. Juan Alessi, Maria Alessi, Jim Baca, Yanis Banasiak, Keith Bloomberg, Jimmy Kane, Cecilia, last name unknown at this time. Maximilia Cordero, Ellen Cunningham, again, knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. Dave, last name unknown at this time. Ryan Dione, Eric Ganey, Gany, first name redacted, last name Hesse, first name redacted, last name unknown at this point. Karen, last name unknown at this point. Gary King, Bella Klein, Adam Perry Lang, Michael Liffman, Mark Lumberg, Lynn, last name unknown at this time. Bracamina, last name unknown at this time. Name redacted. David Mullen, Gary Nicolaitis, David Knorr, Bill Pedon, Francis Pedon, Jerome Pierre, Governor Bill Richardson, Alfredo Rodriguez, David Rogers, Howard Rubenstein, Florina Rueda, Joseph Rueda, Santa Fe County Sheriff, Solano, Alan Stopik, Mark Tafoya, Brent Tyndall, Jojo, last name unknown. All girls identified in the attachment to the non-prosecution agreement that defendant J.E. has entered with the United States and all other similarly situated girls whose identities plaintiffs will attempt to determine, and with regard to whom defendant J.E. has invoked the Fifth Amendment rather than disclose their identities. All other than minor girls. FBI agents whose names, addresses, and telephone numbers are unknown at this time that investigated the criminal case and allegations made against defendant Jeffrey. Again, knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. ASA Lena, ASA Assistant State's Attorney, I'm assuming. Lana, middle name redacted. State Attorney's Office, 15th Judicial Circuit. ASA Vice State Attorney's Office, 15th Judicial Circuit, United States. Prosecutors whose names, addresses, and telephone numbers are unknown at this time, but are included but not limited to. All accountants, bookkeepers, bankers, financial institutions, representatives, real estate advisors, financial planners, employees, governmental persons or entities, and unknown others that may have discoverable information related to defendant J.E.'s net worth and finances. The list goes on and on. We have names. So if anybody wants to say that, again, I am not making allegations. I am going because I choose to believe women and survivors. So again, the question that was asked, this is very important. The question that was asked by the for this deposition was this: list the names and addresses of all persons who are believed or known by you, your agents or attorneys, to have any knowledge concerning any of the issues in this lawsuit, and specify the subject matter about which the witness has knowledge. Plaintiff is not yet aware of the addresses. However, plaintiff believes the defendant has all the addresses. The defendant in this case is J.E. Okay? Was J.E. Jean-Luc Brunel, we've heard that name before. Les Wexner, we've heard that name before. Mark Epstein, we've heard that name before. Donald Trump. All categorized the same way: knowledge of finances and defendant's sexual desire for minor girls. That is EFTA number 00725-932. Once again, EFTA, all caps, 00725-932. Now, again, I am not doing anything than reporting on what we know. But the person's name who is in these files more than anyone else's would be Donald Trump's. If you want to lay blame, if you want to say that X person's guilty or Y person's guilty, and they are on this list, and you have nothing other than the evidence here, then you have to have the same exact response. If you believe that Jean-Luc Brunel is guilty, if you believe that Les Wexner is guilty, if you believe that Jenny Saunders is guilty, Jenny Saunders arranged for underage girls to go to and from Jeff's Island. There are lots of women connected to this as well. A lot of women. A lot. Some, don't forget, secretaries in Nuremberg went to trial too. If you believe Jean-Luc Brunel is guilty, if you believe Les Wexner is guilty, if you believe Mark Epstein is guilty, if you believe Jenny Saunders is guilty, if you believe David Copperfield is guilty, then you have to believe Donald Trump is guilty as well, because it's the same categorization. Henry Beller, Tony Malata, Igor Zanovi, Lawrence Krauss, Mortimer Zuckerman. And again, the statement made by Thomas Massie, if I can find that again. Just want to read this because I think it's really important, because again, this information is now public. So the first statement, Massie said he and Khanna just found the real identity of 6 men and that Pam Bondi redacted. Again, that's violation of the law, day 53. The names of survivors are to be redacted. The names of people that are alleged to have committed these crimes, it's against the law to redact those. Massie said he and Khanna just found the real identity of 6 men Bondi redacted in the files. Massie said he will read them during a congressional hearing. Okay. And the statement from Thomas Massie himself. Last night, I received a flash drive containing the complete list of files belonging to JE. Everything is there. Every billionaire, every campaign donor, every single person. Now, let me explain why you haven't heard anything about this in the media. Because they're all in there. They will do everything to prevent these documents from being made public. Schmepstein was far more than just a P3DO. He was an intelligence asset. He was part of a blackmail operation used to control billionaires, politicians, and world leaders. If List ever sees the light of day, the system as we know it will collapse. I say burn that fucker down. The public has the right to know the truth, and I am not afraid to share it. So, again, what do we know? We know that the Department of Justice, at the direction of Donald Trump, has been breaking the law for the 53rd day. We know that they have absolutely mishandled information because survivors' names have not been redacted and perpetrators' names have been. Starting to come out now. Starting to come out now. I just named names. And there are more to come. I need a quick break. Do I have anything that I can play for you guys? I'll play our PSA, guys. I'll be right back. I just need a quick break.
TikTok. It is our intention during these live broadcasts to only provide fact-based information to the absolute best of our ability. We strive to never spread misinformation or to platform those that do. Opinions of our guests or commenters are theirs and theirs alone and do not reflect those of the host. Hate speech is not allowed, and we are diligent about policing it. This platform is for educational purposes only. We now return you to our regularly scheduled pandemonium, already in progress.
Okay, sorry. All right, so there's more to this. I want to get into something that I discussed briefly yesterday about how it's beyond just the abuse of children, but the experimentation side. Okay, before I get into that, I just want to go back and just kind of play you the sound of some of the members of Congress who heard or read some of the documents. This is Melanie Stansberry first. Love her. Here you go.
Dozen associates, family members, and individuals directly associated with Donald Trump named in those files. Now, there are now at least 9 or 10 other countries across the world that have opened investigations or forced their leaders to step down because of their mere association with Jeffrey Epstein. And the United States government is engaged in an active cover-up of the largest sex trafficking scandal and influence peddling scandal in the history of the United States, and Donald Trump is right at the center of it. And the person who is living to provide the evidence, who knows what is going on, is trying to invoke the Fifth to buy her clemency.
Correct. Those are the facts. This is also Melanie Stansbury about Howard Nutlick, because Howard Nutlick's been busted lying too. He said they didn't have a relationship, and we know that's not the truth, right? So she calls him out. Good for her.
Was a conversation around Howard Lutnick, for example. I know Comer said he didn't want to disrupt the other 5 depositions that they have scheduled, but I don't know how even just trying to speak to Comer would disrupt the other 5. So I wonder if you could help us understand.
With regards to this deposition?
With regards to any future deposition with Howard Lutnick or some of the others that you described.
The committee is keeping an ongoing list of individuals we would like to subpoena. It's really important for folks to understand that in order for us to subpoena anybody, the majority has to consent. And so while we appreciate that there is bipartisan cooperation in this case, we have a whole list of individuals we would like to subpoena before the committee that they have not consented to. Of course, we would like to speak to Secretary Lutnick, and I personally believe that Mr. Lutnick needs to step down immediately.
Okay. So that's Melanie Stansbury, Democrat. We've heard from Ro Khanna and we've heard from Thomas Massie, Democrat, Republican, respectively. There are others that have been involved. We're going to play some sound from Bobo. Lauren Boebert was one of the first 4 signees on the Epstein Transparency Act. It was Thomas Massie, it was Ro Khanna, it was MTG, Nancy Mace, and I believe Bobo was one of the other ones, right? So this is her sound, okay? She was, again, she had just reviewed documents. This is what she had to say.
Members who got to see the unredacted files today?
Yes, I saw some of them, not all of them, obviously. I'll be going back tomorrow to see more.
Any reaction on what you've seen so far?
I think that there's folks who are definitely implicated and co-conspirators. And, I don't think everyone there that was talking about underage girls being trafficked are victims.
Got it. And do you support any clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell? She was saying that she
I do not. Okay. I think Ghislaine Maxwell should get more time, and she should definitely be in a harsher prison than what she's in. It's absolutely disgusting.
Got it. Thank you, Congresswoman.
She was pretty close to wanting to name names there now, wasn't she? Okay. Anna Paulina Luna, another devotee to the MAGA movement. This is what she had to say.
You said that you do not support at all Ghislaine Maxwell getting any clemency for her testimony. And why is it important for her to be held accountable?
Well, because according to the files that we all saw, she was engaged in the trafficking and also rape of young women and potentially children. I don't think that she deserves any special treatment. She's a monster.
And are you able to see the DOJ unredacted versions?
I'm going to be going tomorrow. I think every member of Oversight has gone through so far, or is going to be going through so far. So yes.
And tomorrow will be your first time?
No, my second.
Okay. Is there anything you can share from what you saw today?
I've posted about it publicly, but some of the people that are in the most egregious redactions are claiming to be victims, and I don't think that they're victims if you're engaging in child sex trafficking.
Got it.
Yeah.
But what I saw...
And then, somebody just said this in the comment, the House of Cards about to fall. I completely agree. There are 6 men, some of them with their photographs that have been redacted, and there's no explanation as to why. Now, what will happen? Like, we've already seen numerous members of royal families and high-ranking, law firm employees and members of government from around the world stepping down, but not here. Nope, not here. In our country, there is a group of people that are protecting predators. So, what will happen is the question. What will happen? I don't know. Colleges, universities, absolutely. And I'm just watching some of the comments go by this morning. People like Dino, people like Taco Cat, people like that are trying to figure out a way to defend it. And I'm asking you, why? Why? Why are you just trying so fucking hard to defend this? You don't have to debase yourself. This is a choice you're making. You are making a choice because you have been conditioned for 10 years. You have been conditioned to only believe what Trump tells you. You have been conditioned. It is your entire identity. So here we are. One fucking lie from him after another. His own lies contradicting his own lies. Contradicting his own lies. And you still fucking believe him. And then the only even though his name is in these files more than anybody, his name, Jeffrey Epstein didn't call Bill Clinton one of his closest friends. He called Donald Trump one of his closest friends. We have the financial paper trail. We know about the Russian influence. We know about the iCountry influence. I read to you yesterday the timing of the communications that J.E. had with Steve Bannon that got into Trump's ears days before the Helsinki meeting about the dirt that he knew that Putin had, or gave the dirt to Putin about Trump. And Trump's like, I don't know why I wouldn't believe Putin. Are you guys just not that smart that you can't see it? Because it's a choice. You're either too ignorant to see it, or you're not willing to. Because it's, as far as I'm concerned, it is lock, stock, and smoking gun, as they say. And you're still trying to defend it. You're trying to defend people in this orbit, even if your name is connected to it. Why would you defend it? Why? It tells us everything that we know about you. That's the worst part. That's the worst part. I don't get it, and I never will.
Hi, brother. How are you? Please, brother, 5 minutes, please.
Not today, man. Not today, man. Sorry. I can't do it every day. What else do you need? Extortion? Blackmail? Sure. Remember the story I read to you yesterday about this KGB honey plot, right? Where they identified J.E. because of his network that he created. He got invited into the circles. And if you think about what Thomas Massie said, this involves everyone. What's the quote again? Just one more time. I want to make sure I get the words exactly right. Mimi. Yes. Confirmed, Sam. I just saw that note. Hang on one second. Again, you guys know how much I love my mods, and I mean, like, I love them so much. They are busting their ass trying to keep me updated here, and there's a lot of stuff. I may not get to it all of it, but you should thank all of them, every single one of my mods, for doing the fucking work, because they bust their ass every day. Again, the statement from Thomas Massie, they'll do everything to prevent these documents from being made public. Jeffrey was far more than a P3DO. He was an intelligence asset. Who was he an intelligence asset for? We can draw straight lines. We can talk about Mossad. We can talk about the KGB and the FSB. We can talk about the rumors and the innuendo around the unaliving of Charlie Kirk and how there was a connection to Israeli intelligence then. We can talk about the paper trail. We can talk about the money invested, the dark money that came from Russia to Trump in the early 80s. Money laundering. We can talk about how they bought into Trump properties before they were even built. And then once they were built, they bought 5 floors, never moved in. Never moved in. Compromise. All this compromising information. I mean, all this. We talked about the PP tape. That's fucking nothing compared to this shit. This is how big this is. This is how big this is. All right, let me see if I can catch up a little bit here. Guys, what do I want to focus on first? What am I looking at here? Okay, let me look at this. This is Chris Van Hollen asking Chris Van Hollen, senator from Maryland, I believe, asking Howard Nutlick some questions. Here you go. I haven't heard this yet either, but here you go.
Secretary Lutnick, as I said in my opening statement, you led people to believe that you had cut off all contact with Jeffrey Epstein after the 2005 encounter you and your wife had.
Because that's what he said.
In his apartment.
Uh-huh.
But as I'm sure you know, the Epstein files show a very different record of interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Why do the Epstein files show you coordinating a meeting and planning a visit with Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in December 2012?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to be here to make it clear that I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York. And I met him then. Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall. 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him. And then a year and a half after that, I met him, and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents, there may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person. Okay?
Secretary Lutnick.
I barely had anything to do with that person. Well, I'm about to blow up that fucking narrative too. There's a video, an audio. I'm just asked my mods if they could find it for me. Howard Nutlick's own words, his own words, are going to contradict what he just said. I'll get it for you. So the question then becomes, who the fuck can we believe aside from the survivors? Because as far as I'm concerned, they're all fucking lying. Every one of them. And they are doing it to not only protect themselves, but the way the billionaires roll, is they are protecting each other. In Thomas Massey's words, the entire system is going to collapse. Yeah, I got that one, Tiff. There's another one though. There's an interview that he did a while back. He talked about, if I can remember it, he talked about how he went into this room and he saw a massage table. And he said that you have a massage table in the middle of your room? That's kind of weird. And what kind of massages? And Epstein responded, the best kind of massages. So if you guys could find that for me, I would appreciate that. That would be awesome. So again, right? The statement, here's a little bit more from this same interview, or the same testimony.
I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it, but
Mr. Secretary, again, as I said, there's Lutnick.
In 2012, okay, you took your children to the island of a convicted sexual predator. You took your kids there. You took your kids there, Howard. Again, you took your children there. Why? Why would you do that, Howard? Why would you do that? Guys, give me a minute because I'm going to see if I can find this, because we're going to destroy him. I think this is it. Yep, this is it. I got it. Okay. So let's just go back. Let's just rewind a quick second here. So let's listen. Let's just real quick. Let's just level set. Thank you, Jess. I got you. I got it. So let's listen to what he said, and then we'll talk about this in just a second. So we're gonna rewind. We're gonna play the sound again. So Chris Van Hollen interviewing Howard Nuttlick. Okay. Now, the entire mantra in the Trump world is to deny. Did he forget that he might have done this interview that I'm going to play for you in just a moment? This is the first line of questioning from Chris Van Hollen.
Because I said in my opening statement, you led people to believe that you had cut off all contact with Jeffrey Epstein after the 2005 encounter you and your wife had in his apartment. But as I'm sure you know, the Epstein files show a very different record of interaction.
Mm-hmm, they do.
Why do the Epstein files show you coordinating a meeting and planning a visit with Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in December 2012?
Yeah, why, Howard?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to be here to make it clear that I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York. And I met him then. Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall. 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him. And then a year and a half after that, I met him, and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents, there may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person. Okay?
Interesting. Okay, so we're talking about the time frame, right? So he stated that they had no interaction, right? So the interview that I'm about to play for you is from, this was done, let's see. This was done this was done last summer. So as he's the cabinet secretary, okay? And I want you to listen to this statement that in this interview.
He was your neighbor for 10 years. How well did you know him?
All right, so we are in number 11, and he lives in number 9.
Right.
So we renovate, we buy our house, and our house is pigeons and mice.
Right.
Okay, it was derelict.
Right.
So we rebuild our house. We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. So my wife and I go next door. We walk the 7 steps,
yes,
right, to the next house for coffee. We share a wall.
Right.
So it's in New York City. So he invites us in. We have coffee in this, and he says, do you want a tour? We said, great.
Interesting.
He's got a really big house.
Every room you went into?
He's got, well, I'll tell you. So his house is like, you bastard, you.
Hang on one second. Commercials.
Super big, really wide. And so he gives me a tour in the living room, big living room. And then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room.
Yeah.
And he opens the doors, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room.
Ooh.
And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry. We have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Interesting, right? Interesting. So that was he was referencing, goddamn, good fucking journalism. Sorry, but here you go. When you are making this statement about an interaction that you had in 2005, here's the tail end of this again, okay?
And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me. Ooh. And he says, and the right kind of massage. Ooh. Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry. We have to go. And
this part,
left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
Okay. So he said that after 2005, that he was never in the room with him again, not socially, nothing. You heard that. That's Howard Lutnick, Commerce Secretary. Think about the people that are in Trump's cabinet. Kevin Warsh, who's the maybe new Fed chairperson, named in the files. Howard Lutnick, named in the files. Steve Bannon, named in the files. Elon Musk, named in the files. Pam Bondi's affiliation because she was the USADA, named in the files. Okay? That's one part. So that's Howard Lutnick making that statement. Here is his statement again to Chris Van Hollen.
Secretary Lutnick, as I said in my opening statement, you led people to believe that you had cut off all contact with Jeffrey Epstein after the 2005 encounter.
Because that's what he said in an interview just last summer. He said that after that, I was never in the room with him. My wife said I'll never be in the space with him. Okay.
Encounter you and your wife had in his apartment. Mm-hmm. But as I'm sure you know, the Epstein files show a very different record of interaction. Why do the Epstein files show you coordinating a meeting and planning a visit with Jeffrey Epstein on his private island in December 2012?
Thank you for the question. I'm glad to be here to make it clear that I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York.
Correct.
Right? And I met him then.
2005.
Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall. 2 times.
My guy. Then we haven't even gotten into a meat of your testimony and you've already fucking lied. Because you said never again. Never again. Interesting.
That is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him. And then a year and a half after that, I met him and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents. There may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person. Okay?
Okay. Well, there's a problem because that's not what you said about in this particular case.
I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why we did it, but
Mr. Secretary.
Okay, and then one more time, just to be clear, this is what he said.
And so he gives me a tour in the living room. Big.
And again, this was just last summer. He's already the Commerce Secretary. He's already in a cabinet position. We know of the history. You just heard what he testified to yesterday in Congress.
Living room. And then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room.
Yeah.
And he opens the doors, and there's a massage table in the middle of the room. And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me. And he says, and the right kind of massage. Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
So, Mr. Secretary, you should resign immediately because you just perjured yourself. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that your wife was there and you were like, that's it, never again, ever, not socially, not in a room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then testify under oath, right? Under oath testimony. I barely had anything to do with that person. But then you went to the island in 2012. So just 5 years later, after he was convicted of crimes against children. After that. And you thought it was fine then to bring your wife, to bring your kids, to bring your nannies. No, Van Pancake, he should resign, but come on and interview as an under oath. No, a congressional testimony is under oath. Okay? That would be perjury. So if he's lying to the interviewer and now telling the truth, so he's either lying with the interviewer or he's lying in front of Congress. Do you understand, Van Pancake? That would be perjury. You can't, the stories contradict. You can't say, that's it, no more. I've never been with a room with him since yesterday or whenever this testimony went. When was this, by the way? Was this morning? Yeah, it was this morning. Okay. So he's sitting for that interview this morning. In an interview that I played for you, he said, that's it. We're done. I've never again, my wife's like, I'm never going to be in that room with that guy again, ever again. So then are you lying on behalf of your wife? Were you lying to the interviewer or are you lying now? So if you are lying in front of Congress, that's perjury. Right? So, do you understand? That's why I broke it down slowly. He should absolutely resign. Pam Bondi should resign. Kash Patel should resign. Todd Blanche should resign. Howard Nutlick should resign. They all should. They all should. So here we sit. Lying to a journal. I didn't say that. Van Pancake, let me explain this to you again. Okay? Lying to a journalist isn't perjury. I understand that. So the question is, was he lying to the journalist Or is he lying under testimony this morning? Because he seemed pretty confident when he talked to the journalist and saying, oh, you know what? That's it. I never wanted anything to do with him. My wife said, that's it. I'll never be in a room with him again. And he told this story, and I've never been in the room with him since. So that's the story he told last summer as Commerce Secretary. I can't believe I have to explain this so slowly to you. Commerce Secretary. Today's testimony, he said, yeah, well, actually, we were in the room together. We had lunch. I brought my kids there. I brought my nanny there. So which one is the lie? Was he lying to the journalist, or was he lying to the members of Congress? Do you understand now, Van Pancake? Do you understand? Do you get it? Do you understand? Now, one of them is a lie. Which one? Which one is the lie? And you want the Commerce Secretary lying. And if he was lying to the journalist, okay, but he knew that Epstein was a convicted predator, and you want to take your kids there? Are you defending this? Ego? I'm not gonna slam the name of pancakes. Which one is it? Which one is it? And you notice what I find really, really interesting is he was all super confident in that interview, chummy. And I think the journalist did an interesting job. Don't call it perjury. Yeah, I will call it perjury. If he's lying in front of Congress, it's perjury. That's what that is. That's perjury. You take an oath, you perjured yourself. Now, it's not a legal consequence because it's going to have to be sent to the DOJ, but he still perjured himself. Stop defending it, bro. It's not a good look. Stop fucking defending it. You notice how giddy he was? And I'm saying, I think the journalist intentionally probably laughed to try to get a little bit more information out of him, right? To try to get a little bit more information to make him feel comfortable telling the story. So was he lying to her, or was he lying in front of Congress? Stop fucking defending it. Stop defending it. This is why we tell you guys, you're in a cult. Stop fucking defending it. You don't have to debase yourself. You can call it the fuck out. You don't have to go public with your support of Trump ever again. You can call it the fuck out, and you can call it out right now. This guy lied. Every single one of them that lied. Why are they lying, Van Ego? Why are they lying? They are lying to protect the people, including themselves, who are involved. I'm not making an allegation that Howard Nutlick did anything to kids. I'm not making that allegation. What I'm accusing him of is lying. To do what? To what end? Who the fuck is he protecting other than himself because of his lies? Why is he in Trump's cabinet? Why are all these people connected? Yeah, you're right, Char. Bill Clinton was impeached for, he technically didn't lie to Congress. He lied during a deposition. That's what he got impeached for. Not the Oval Office blowjob. But again, I did not have sexual relations with that girl. Okay. Why are you all so fucking desperate to defend this shit? What are you doing? Why are you going to all these? Why the fuck are you going so far to defend this? Why would you defend Howard Nutlick? What the fuck is he going to do for you other than mock you? He's the same guy that said, hey, if your Social Security check's late, no big deal. Yeah, whatever. My mom wouldn't complain if her Social Security check was late. Well, you're a fucking billionaire, Howard. I think your mom's probably good. Do you understand, Van Ego, why we tell you fucking pieces of shit that you're in a fucking cult? Because you'll fucking find a way to defend it. Oh, don't say perjury, that's mean. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, you pathetic piece of fucking shit. You're going to try to come up here and try to fucking defend it in real time? Are you kidding me? Why? Why defend it? I figured I was going to get a restriction. Whatever. I don't know what happened to the filter. Sometimes it does this crazy shit. It's weird. Why? Again, the question I ask, and this is the most important question for everybody who's a Trump supporter, okay? This is the most important question that you have to ask yourself. Because this is what you're doing. I need you to wake up in the morning, get the belly button lint out, scratch your nutsack, walk over to the mirror and ask yourself this question. Do I want to go down in history as someone who defended predators, child rapists? Do I want to be known as that? If my child walked up to me right now and they watched this guy Fax's live, and this guy Fax talked to them about a bunch of stuff and connected a whole bunch of dots, uncovered lies, uncovered abuse, and they say, Dad, do you still support Donald Trump after all this? And you're going to look them in the eye and you say, yes. You're going to look them in the eye and say, it's all fake news? All of it? Well, Dad, it seems really weird. This guy obviously lied. Why are you defending it? But it's trans people. But it's immigrants. But it's women. But it's the LGBTQIA community, right? Marginalized groups everywhere. You're gonna walk up, you're gonna just discredit all of them. You're gonna tell your kids, drag queens, yeah, liberal dudes who have nail varnish on. You're gonna blame all of them, but you're never gonna point it at yourself. Okay. Got it. A little bit more sound from Howard, since we're on it.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick talked a lot about his memories of Jeffrey Epstein on a New York Post podcast, describing his first and only interaction with his former neighbor.
So he gives me a tour in the living room, big living room. And then across from it is double doors. I assume it's the dining room. Yeah. And he opens the doors and there's a massage table in the middle of the room. And candles all around and stuff. So I ask very insightful, cutting questions. I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me. And he says, and the right kind of massage. That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. Blackmailed people. That's how he had money.
Joining me now, Wired senior writer and author of Inner Loop newsletter, Jake LaHutte. So, first off, why is Howard Lutnick talking about Jeffrey Epstein to the New York Post?
That is a great question. It was almost so casual in the way that kind of rich people will start recommending various doctors and specialists just to fill idle time. And it was almost like he was too comfortable in that setting. Because really with this New York Post podcast, it's kind of like a risk-free environment for him in a way. And for all the worrying that the Trump comms shop does about having folks go into adversarial interviews where they may cause a problem for the administration, the whole unofficial word inside is don't talk about Jeffrey Epstein. And he just kind of casually goes out there and gives a story where he didn't really come off as well as maybe he thought he did.
Has there been any reaction from the White House? No reaction from the White House. I did text around with some sources about this. Didn't get much. I did get a facepalm emoji. So, that's fun. Okay, so why is it so surprising that he would come out and talk about Jeffrey Epstein? I guess what's the reason for him to do it other than maybe some form of virtue signaling that unlike people who have shown up in the subsequent files that have come out, like a Peter Thiel or a Steve Bannon who are hanging out, or at least were scheduled to hang out with him later, he, was swearing off Epstein from the beginning. I really don't know.
And this is the thing with Lutnick is it's hard to get people in the administration to really talk too badly about him, but he's definitely gotten on some nerves, and he is not everyone's cup of tea.
So the Epstein stuff has been something that the White House and Republicans have tried to suppress, broadly speaking, Republicans, after, fomenting and riling up their fan base for so long about, we're going to release the Epstein files, we're going to show you everything that's there. This seems like it comes in and throws another very scintillating detail into the conversation, that Epstein has videos and that's how he made his money. So, where did that money go? Come from? Who was paying him? Where are those videos? Is this the sort of thing that's beginning to bubble up on social media now?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is we have known that Jeffrey Epstein obsessively filmed so many rooms of these properties since this scandal began to unfold. I don't know, back in, we're talking 2017, 2018 at that point, where this was already a point of fascination. And it's just a complete unforced error for Lutnick to be bringing this up when there have been a couple
of... Is it an error, or is there something there that people are going to want to hear about? He says he thinks those videos were traded in for Epstein's sweetheart deal with prosecutors. So he thinks that the prosecutors know that there are videos of people, and that was part of the way that he got a lighter sentence. Have you seen this bubble up online? I know there are so many fervent people out there who are demanding more on the Epstein files. Is this putting some chum in the water for them?
I think it is putting some chum in the water. I have not seen any, major accounts that tend to drive the conversation about this on the right seizing up on it.
That's surprising.
Well, I think you don't want to be hurting the home team now, Katie, do you? So that's one reason. But, the other is just that there have been some unifying moments that the Trump base has been able to kind of rally around. The shutdown is maybe a less, enthralling version of one, but you can still rally around the team there.
I think you get the point. I don't know where Howard Nutley goes in this. He's not going to. Again, they're not going to remove him just because they don't do that, because that would be them admitting guilt. Weird, right?
Yo.
Good morning. Good morning.
I just have a question. Okay.
Okay.
One question. This is off topic, I guess, but can you name me one U.S. citizen that got deported by ICE?
Zach, it wouldn't matter if I went through the exercise and explained to you that 70% of those that were detained by ICE didn't even have a criminal record, and 47% of those didn't even have charges pending. It wouldn't matter to you that 32 people died in ICE custody in 1 year compared to the 50 plus that died in Obama's custody for 8 years. It wouldn't have mattered to you that Kristi Noem has lied. It wouldn't. None of that would matter to you. What's their name? Zach, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Every time you've gone to court, explain to me what happened with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Apparently he was a violent gang member, right? What happened to him? Right? It doesn't matter, Zach. I'm not going to play your little games. Okay? I'm just not going to play your little games. Doesn't matter because you won't believe it anyway. It just doesn't matter.
Hey, brother, 5 minutes, please. 5 minutes. You want to mute, please?
Not today, friend. Appreciate you. Nah, I give you guys time. I just can't do it every day. So you had a lot to say in the chat.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I was describing to you?
Yeah, I think nuance is very hard to convey in a chat. I just want to clarify. I'm on your side. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not putting this icon here to pretend, and I'm not defending Howard Lutnick at all. What I'm saying is we are winning this political moment, but if you use the wrong term, the other side can use it against you. I'm trying to help, because it's not perjury until he lies in front of Congress under oath, right? So just don't make the claim.
He was under oath.
I know. Who knows if he's telling the truth under oath now? We don't know. We know he's lying to the journalist.
Did I make that? How do you know he's lying to the journalist?
Because you proved it.
No, I did not prove.
The documents
do you really not
proved
understand
it.
this?
The documents
do you
proved
not
it.
understand? Okay, well, listen. Again, he lied numerous times, right? He lied numerous times. In his statement, even in the statement he made to Congress, there's details in there, they're not accurate. So he lied. Obviously, he lied to the journalists because the documents prove it.
Okay,
What
great.
else
That's
did
all
he
I was
lie
saying.
about?
He definitely lied to the journalists. We don't know if he lied to Congress. He probably did. And then it's perjury, 100%.
That's why I said it.
But we don't know that it's perjury today, right? So you want to follow facts. I do too. Like, let's stick to the things that we can prove. We know for a fact he lied to the journalist. He probably lied to Congress. We don't know for sure yet.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Dude, why don't you fucking stand for something, okay? Stand for something. Everybody in this administration fucking lies. Everybody. They lie every time they open their fucking mouths. Don't you understand? They fucking lie everywhere. Every fucking time they open their mouths, they fucking lie because they were told to do so. This is how you defeat the media. You just fucking lie. Every one of them. They fucking lie everywhere. Interviews, in front of the press, in statements. All they fucking do is fucking lie. That's all they do. What we know is in the files, it contradicts exactly what he said to the fucking journalist. So you expect to think now that he's just telling the truth all of a sudden? They all fucking lie. Everybody, get your heads out of your fucking ass. All they fucking do is fucking lie. Every single one of them. That's what they do. Pathetic pieces of shit like fucking Zach don't give a fuck because he likes it. He's over in the corner spanking it every time a brown person gets beaten. Every fucking day, every single second of every fucking day, people in this country, 77 million, are pretzel logicking themselves into trying to defend their bullshit. Every fucking day. Every day. Every day. And you want to accuse me of using words like perjury? Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Fuck you. Kristi Noem perjured herself in front of Congress. Pam Bondi perjured herself in front of Congress. Kash Patel perjured himself in front of Congress. Pam Bondi will perjure herself again tomorrow. And I'm supposed to be like, oh, don't, we're winning this moment. Fuck that. Fuck that bullshit. That's the fucking problem. Don't you understand? That's the fucking problem. They lie about everything, and you're concerned that, well, I don't know if I'd use the word perjury. Fuck that. Bro, wake the fuck up. What the fuck are you doing? Jesus, give me a fucking break. Zach, you're done. Get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to waste my fucking time with you. It won't fucking matter anyway. Until you can explain why more people died in ICE custody this year, in 1 year, last year in the Trump administration, than died in 8 years under Obama. When you can explain that, when you can tell me why that's okay, then we can have a conversation. But until then, shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of here. Why don't you go to the fucking island and hang out with people that you care to protect? Maybe you can run point. Maybe you can be on security. Fuck you. Fuck you, Zach. Fuck you. Mods, take out the fucking trash. I'm done with this bullshit. It won't fucking matter. All you want to do is pivot the conversation. That's all you fucking want to do. You want to move it away from something because you can't fucking defend it. You can't defend it. And you know you can't because you're a pathetic piece of fucking shit. And you'll try anything and everything to move away from the conversation. The boy you voted for is a fucking predator. He's a fucking P3DO. I don't give a fuck. Pam Bondi, fuck you. You're a fucking liar. Kristi Noem, fuck you. You're a fucking liar too. Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the president, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, you're all fucking liars. Every fucking one of you. I want you to face fucking justice. And you've got people like fucking Zach in here trying to defend it because you support it too. You fucking coward. What a pathetic fucking coward you are. Unbelievable. We're not angry enough. All they do is lie. All they do is fucking lie. Every single second of every single day. And, oh, I'm on your side, but be careful using the word perjury. Fuck that. Are you kidding me? Give me a fucking break. Be careful? Give me a break. God damn. Mr. Wright, how are you today?
Did you find a name yet?
Sorry, what?
Did you find anybody yet?
Oh, is it Zach, you piece of shit? What's up, Zach, you piece of shit?
That's not me.
How's it going, piece of shit? How's it going, piece
Can
of
you name
shit?
me? Can you name me one person?
How's it going? Explain to me this, piece of shit. How about this? Explain to me. And you left. Of course you did, you fucking coward. You're fucking pitiful too, you piece of shit. You're fucking pitiful as well. Do you understand? Do you understand? You're such a fucking coward that you had to go and get your backup account, right? You pathetic coward. Tell you what, when you answer to me why more people have died in ICE custody this year, in 1 year, than it's ever happened before in 20 fucking years, explain that to me. When you come back, when you can explain that. You can type it in the chat. Explain it. Unbelievable. Mediocre men at best, on your best day. You're mediocre. You're mediocre. You are afraid of everything. You soft little betas. You are afraid of everything. Very, very strong possibility we're going to lose the live today, but I don't give a shit. I'm going down swinging. None of you care. Back up my claim? Sure. No problem. Back up my claim. No problem. Happy to do it. Let's see. No problem. You asking me to back up my fucking claim? Buckle the fuck up. These are DHS's numbers. By the way, 32 deaths in ICE custody since January 20th, 2025. That is from the DHS. Let's see. 32 people died in ICE jails, 31 deaths in ICE custodies. Let's see. Anything else? This is DHS data. Anybody else? That is DHS data. So should we not believe that now? That's the most in 1 year. I think the number was 55 during Obama's 8 years. Right? Is that not evidence enough for you? So again, DHS data, 35, let's see, what is the number? 38 so far, because there have been 4 additional deaths this year. So 38 total since Donald Trump took the presidency. Is that not good enough for you? This is DHS's data. Should we not believe that now? You just want to believe how you're spoon-fed? You stand back in the corner, staring at yourself, jerking your fucking micro dick and not believing it because somebody told you you shouldn't because you're so fucking weak and so fucking pitiful that you'll only believe what Trump tells you? You know, the pervert in chief? Give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. Exactly. That's just been who's been reported. Exactly right. Hey, Dan, how are you?
What's up, Steve? It's good to see you, man. I was just scrolling through and you were extra enthusiastic today. What's going on? We have the same usual basket of deplorables.
Yeah, you got something on your mind?
No, I just wanted to wish you a happy day. Hope you have a good one and keep putting your foot on these deplorables necks. We're
thanks.
This country's being ruined.
Thanks, Dan. It's not happy. Sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but it's not happy. Be fucking angry, dude. Don't be happy. Be angry. Hey, Huey, how are you today?
Yeah, man, how you doing? It's crazy to me to think about all the things that are going on, and people just can't separate themselves from the politics and just say this is right and this is wrong. That's it. It's there's nothing about people preying on children that's cool. There's nothing that's cool about that. There's nothing that's okay. Like, where's the humanity about this? It's like, have we lost ourselves? Like, why can we not connect and be connected and understand that, yo, life is more than about money? Like, what are we doing? Like, as a society, as a people?
Because there's people like Zach, Huey. Because there's people like Zach. That's why. Because they don't value anything. They don't value humanity. They value talking points. They value their hatred. They value their, and I call it value. They just like to look down on people because they've accomplished nothing in their life. And because of that, they always want to find somebody else to blame.
You know, this is just, it's spinning my head. Like, I'm like, we're talking about children. We're talking about the most innocent group of people that you can, you know, like these are entities that are supposed to be cared for until they mature, and we're taking advantage of them, and that's okay. Like, I'm lost.
I know.
So people are talking, like, there's no political talking point that can justify anything that they're saying. I just don't get it. And it's like, you know, the fact that this is going on for not just 5 years, not just this year, last year, this span of almost 30, 40 years. Like, what are we talking about?
We're talking about people, millions of Americans who just don't give a shit because they want to find someone else to blame. It doesn't matter the evidence. It doesn't matter the information. It doesn't matter the contradictions. It doesn't matter the lies. They just will not ever relent. Therefore, love has to be more powerful than hate.
I agree with you, everybody.
Thanks, you. I appreciate you.
I'm going.
Be safe out there. Okay, be safe out there. Thanks. Thank you, Michelle. Brian Rayo Garzon died at Phelps County Jail in Missouri, age 27. Wabing J, 53, died at California hospital after reported seizure. Hassan Ali Monde Salah, 67, died at Miami hospital. Leo Cruz Silva, 34, died in Missouri, suspected unaliving. Isidore Perez, 75, died at a Florida hospital. Nan Ngak Nguyen, 55, died at a hospital in El Paso, Texas. What I'm reading are, in 2025, several individuals died while U.S. immigration while in custody, with reports indicating significant increases in deaths during that period. As many as 38 people died in ICE custody. But you guys don't want to talk about that, do you? Of course not. Of course you don't. You want to talk about the story about there was incidences of sexual assault. There was one teenage boy that was detained. His testicles were stepped on and stomped on. Pregnant women being assaulted, children being assaulted. Right? But that's fine with you, isn't it, Zach? That's fine with you, isn't it? You pathetic piece of shit. So pro-life of you. And you'll probably say that he deserved it, right? You'll probably say that Renee Good deserved it, or Alex Preddy deserved it. And you know what, Zach? I still want you to have health care. I still want you to be able to buy a home. I still want you to be able to retire with dignity. Because that's what humanists do, man. That's what humanists do. We look out for each other. You don't give a fuck. I want society to be better. Because society as a whole can be better, that means you get to benefit from it too. But that's a bridge too far, right? That's a bridge too far. Hey, bro. How are you?
Hello there.
Hey. Hello there. You know, the thing that makes me angry is the fact that we all knew that they were redacting names. But then when we see the names, right? and then we start to draw the parallels, this is what gets me angry, right? Because then we know the why. We knew they were doing it, but we didn't really know the why until they showed us. So you're right. Every time they testify, they are lying. They are perjuring themselves on a daily basis. And that's what it's called. If you have two congressional hearings and the same individual has changed his story, but not admitted fault or said that he misspoke or said that clearly he forgot what had happened, that is called perjury. You have a chance to come clean and clear the record, and then you wouldn't be perjuring yourself. You could come and say, hey, you know what? I guess I did do this. You're right, because here's the email. I apologize for not remembering this. Allow me to provide context and clarity as best I can, right? We're not expecting people to remember everything. But when you purposefully lie, and hats off to the podcast person at the New York Post, because that was the exact same feeling I got when you played it the first time. I was like, oh, she's egging him on, but like she's acting like it's mysterious, right? And then that's how he dropped his guard. And this is the other thing too that angers me. It's the sheer fucking hypocrisy and arrogance of these people. They literally think they're above the law. They literally don't read history, because all you have to do is go to the Nuremberg trials and see what happened. Everyone was held accountable. No one was given any grace. And that's what guys like Zach, a.k.a. Matt, who apparently was on Nemo's live the other night, so he's got a couple different names, just be aware, was doing the same thing, right? These pathetic white guys who peaked in middle school, right? Who want to claim they are something while doing absolutely nothing about it and not getting angry about it. Right? And people should be angry, because what we keep allowing them to do by not being angry is the victims are victimized over and over and over again. And this is what has to stop. Oh, that was weird. Oh, yes. You changed the background. Yes. And that's right. And people should also be pissed, because this could have been resolved in the manner that Trump lied about. His DOJ had permission by the judge to make sure the victims' names were redacted only, and other names wouldn't have to be redacted, and then they could go ahead and release them, right? Because it was going through a judicial process. But what did they do instead? Once they actually had permission to do the one thing that they kept saying Biden wouldn't do, because Biden could not do, because the courts would not allow him, and because he follows the separations of powers, he was like, okay, I don't like it, but this is what the judge is saying. I'm going to go with what the judge is saying. And as soon as they got the green light, oh, it's on my desk. Oh, there's nothing on my desk. There's nothing to see here, right? They knew immediately, because what Trump told them was, hey, a lot of my donors are going to be on that list because they were on the island. A lot of important billionaires are going to be on that list because they were on that island. Now, do I think that every single human being that was ever on that island did something nefarious or illegal or disgusting? Probably not, right? Law of averages. But a lot of them did. And what's interesting is, why are their names being redacted? Right? What is Bill Gates? What is Bill Gates? We know we know he's a disgusting piece of shit. I mean, he cheated on his wife, so he's already a disgusting piece of shit, right?
Yeah, wanted to sneak her STD medication.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But they don't redact his name, that he's a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about following the money and the influence and the compromise, right? What we really need to do is allow all of the world's intelligence agencies to get together and share notes publicly. How are these people connected, right? Because it isn't just Jeffrey Epstein, right? He was a facilitator, no doubt, right? He was a guy that worked every angle to make as much money as he could. Live visibility restricted for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Sorry, buddy.
How did I get, who was I bullying?
Who knows?
I didn't even swear or yell. Okay, so
I did.
Drop me.
Come back up. Request again. I'll bring you up.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, was that bullying Zach? Were his fifis hurt? Apparently so. You said you wanted to debate, Dylan. What did you want to debate about?
Did you find a name yet?
Why are you such a piece of shit, bro?
Why?
Honestly, I'm just asking. Like, why are you such a piece of shit?
Let's ask the question.
No, I'm asking you. Like, why are you such a piece of shit?
How?
Are you defending this stuff, right?
No.
No, you are. So I threw a challenge down to you. Explain to me why. Explain to me. Shut up. Explain to me why 32 people died ICE custody last year. Explain to me why that happened.
Not following rules.
Oh, so we can just kill prisoners now?
Kill prisoners.
Yeah, I asked you why 32 people died.
What do you think would happen if I tried to run over a cop?
Do you know what custody means, dumbass?
Do you know what the law means?
What does custody mean? Can you answer questions, or are you incapable of doing that?
See, these people keep asking me.
What is custody?
Okay, hold on 1 second.
What does custody mean? Hey, dumbass, what does custody mean?
Hang on 1 second. These people keep asking me name.
Here. 41 credible reports of physical and sexual abuse of individuals in detention, 14 reports of mistreatment of pregnant women, and 18 reports of mistreatment of children in ICE custody. Zach? And this is an interesting story. This one I found really, really interesting. Where is it? Where's that one I was talking? A teen detainee was beaten so severely he needed hospitalization. Guards reportedly crushed his testicles and forced fingers into his ears. That's fine though, right? There's no issues there. Right, Zach? Okay. Welcome back, my friend.
Well, I didn't even say anything and another restriction appeared.
Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm
angry today.
And somebody said I bullied Zach. All I did is I said...
No, I did. I did. They were talking.
Oh, that's why I got the message?
It probably, it was more likely pointed towards me, but we cleared it, so don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Welcome back. Good to see you.
Hi. It's nice to see your face.
Yours too. Friends, by the way, most of you do not know, but our friend here might have shaved his beard. I'm not going to expose you. I'm not going to dox you. I'm just saying that might have happened. Just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Oh, look at that. There it is. Yeah, I'm next, I guess.
I decided to go with the 70s emergency one fireman's mustache.
There you go. Rampart. Squad 51.
Which, by the way, when we go to the bagel shop that we like to go to in Silver Lake, the exit is the Rampart exit. And every time I say something like, hey, Dixie, or, but most people don't get it.
Oh, that's right. Totally. That was my Friday night. I loved Emergency. Randolph Mantooth, right? Absolutely. 211 in progress. Exactly. That's right. See?
Yeah.
See, again, proving once again that Gen X is the best generation.
Do you remember One Adam 12?
Sure. Of course I do.
Yeah. And then sometimes they'd have a crossover later at the end of Adam 12. They'd had a crossover because it was Emergency, then it was Emergency 1.
That's right. And then we had Love Boat. We had Fantasy Island.
Love
right?
Boat.
Those are the weekends. I didn't have a TV, so I had to go to my neighbor's house to watch. But I enjoyed it.
Dallas.
Yeah. But you're right, Dallas. But you're right. The whole to me, and we've talked about this before. The lengths that people will go to defend it, and they honestly think, like, what are you defending? Do you understand? You're gonna look in the mirror. Your children are going to come up to you and they're going to research all these kinds of things. And when all this information, when more names come out, when more people are found liable, when more people are hopefully held accountable, you're going to explain to your kid that you defended that? No, you won't. You'll lie just like they did, because you don't want to be associated with this. I can look back and talk to my kids. They know. Obi's kids know. They know your daughter, they know where we stand. Yeah. They know. They know what side we're on. We want these motherfuckers to go to Nuremberg. We know what side we're on. What side are you on, Zach?
Yeah, and also, if you don't know something, here's what I've learned as an adult that is older than Steve and will always be older than Steve.
Always.
By one fucking year. It's okay to thank someone for teaching you something. It's okay when I get held accountable. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Part of being an adult is critically thinking your way through scenarios that make you feel uncomfortable. You can't feel your way out of uncomfortability, but you can think your way out of it critically. And sometimes that means asking another adult for help. Right? And not saying, I'm sorry. If you've harmed someone, tell them, I know that I have harmed you. What can I do to make it better?
Right.
Let them decide the process. When you get held accountable, I've been held accountable on this app, on this live, many times. Do I get mad at Steve? No. Do we talk about it afterwards? Every single time.
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly.
Because we need to talk it out.
Yeah, we
because it's
it's
uncomfortable in that moment to be called out.
Correct.
But at the end, he's my brother and I love him and I appreciate the fact that I got to learn something new. Right? This is why early on when you and I were doing lives together, the one thing that we agreed to was that we would never speak for another marginalized community. We could chip at the edges in case there wasn't someone present to come up and represent that community, but in a way that only supports, not speaks to their story.
Correct.
Right? And I think the problem is with people like Zach or Matt, whatever his name happens to be, is that they want to feel a particular way that makes them feel better about not doing something. Perjury is perjury. Lying is lying. We don't need to split hairs. What you laid out was very clear. He is lying to someone about the exact same subject. But he went in front of Congress twice and contradicted himself, did not correct the record, which means he perjured himself. This is the thing, right? People get confused. It's not a court of law. The congressional record can be corrected. You can submit things after the fact. Those get read into the record. That's why they ask for unanimous consent to add things, because all that gets added to the record. Right.
It's a good point, because Michael Cohen lied during his congressional testimony, or he was indicted by the DOJ because there was contradictions in his story, what he told to law enforcement and what he told to Congress, and that's why he got indicted, charged, convicted. So people don't just forget about that shit.
Yeah, just because there are three equal branches of the government doesn't mean that lying to one doesn't land you in the other. Exactly. Except in this case, this particular DOJ apparently doesn't like going after actual criminals, because as you pointed out, it's about the numbers, right?
Of course it is.
But of course. The funny thing is too now, what are we gonna do about the 350,000 people that have most likely done nothing wrong other than come here because they were told to come here, and now he wants to kick them out?
Yeah, those are on temporary status. Those folks, those fine people that are just trying to make their lives better. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that have literally improved the neighborhood that they live in the state of Ohio, that have added economic prosperity to that neighborhood, that have created businesses in that neighborhood, which means they're paying taxes. This is the other great myth, right? Oh, immigrants of any kind don't pay taxes. Well, we've shown the numbers, right? We know that study, what was it, 2022 or 2024, immigrant-led households. So that includes every type of immigrant. Contributed.
Oh, dude, I gotta send you the Cato report, because that just came out recently. 1994 to 2023, $14.3 trillion.
Yes.
On the positive side.
Yes. that one study for like 2 years or whatever it was $497 billion state, local, and federal taxes collected, because they all have ITINs.
Correct.
So once you have an ITIN, you're paying taxes. And here's the thing, right? As we've pointed out, no benefits, right? There are aging generations, right? Our generation isn't quite yet in the aging, but we're about 10 years away from being in the aging pool, right?
Depends on the day.
If we're being, yes, it depends on the weather.
Yeah, it does.
You have to have people come and replace them, because of the simple fact capitalism doesn't work unless people are purchasing goods and services. And currently we exist on capitalism. Capitalism also enables the collecting of taxes, which provides the social safety nets. All of these things people should be angry about, because it's being taken away. The people who are being punished are the ones who contribute more dollars than we do, because we get some of those dollars back.
Correct.
They don't get a cent back until they're made a U.S. citizen. Why is it taking 5 to 10 years? It shouldn't be. I mean, listen, if you want to talk about the expense of having them, well, then make them citizens, give them the benefits, right? You still are collecting the same amount of tax dollars, right? And like I was talking to Doug yesterday about this, people always throw out this number, right? This number per year, but that number is disingenuous because it includes the entire DHS budget when they talk about fighting immigration or what immigration costs. Well, sure, it's a lot of money if you include all federal agencies and salaries and benefits and all of that stuff. Yes. But what did we learn a couple of years ago when we were talking to Rollo, that over 90% of all persons who have legal representation that show up for the court dates because they want to be productive citizens, and they commit less crime than American citizens? So why again don't we want these people in? Oh, because you're a bigot and a racist piece of shit.
Correct.
Right? Correct. And I'm trying not to get angry, like projecting anger.
It's okay. I got it. I got enough for the both of us today, apparently.
Yeah, so let me tell you what happened. I'll center myself for just a second. So I was out walking Scout. And normally when I'm walking Scout, like if I can get her to allow me to have a 24-minute walking mile, it's a miracle, because it's a dog. Like every 10 feet, apparently that same blade of grass that we pass every single day smells a little different, right? So she's got to stop.
Yeah, of course.
But you had me so hyped up that I was doing 20-minute miles walking the dog. Like I was just like, "Arr!" And then I got home and I was like, no, I'm gonna jump on and I'm gonna use my indoor voice to express my anger, because these clowns that keep coming up.
I could take my shirt off.
Ooh, hey now.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying.
I start to bid at $10. Do I see $15? 15? 15 in the comments?
Have even
15.
opened my fucking
Do I
mouth
see
for that.
$20? $20 in the comments to watch Steve take his shirt off?
Moving on. Thank you. Moving on. Anyway.
You knew that. See, 20. Oh, wait, 50. $50. $1,000. Hey, if I could take a picture of me and my chaps wearing a pair of red boxer briefs, the least you could do is strip off your sweatshirt, baby. I mean, it appears the ladies are laying out quite a bit, $5,000.
It's not happening.
We're about to solve the budget crisis of Vermont.
Somebody just said, well, you do need to raise money. That is true. That is true. But nope, we're good. Nope.
Now, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but did you talk to them about the fireman style catalog that we're going to do to raise money?
Wish I forgot all about the calendar. We should have totally done that. We could do the last half of the year calendar, but yeah, I should have done that. Shit. My bad. I forgot. Should have done.
I mean, we could have probably raised at least $20-$30 off of that.
Yeah, at least, and our wife would have bought all the copies. Yeah, I know. Well, you're right, bro, and I think it's just this weird thing that we all struggle with daily about why the lengths to which people will go to try to defend this shit, and I don't even know. I can't even imagine that. I just can't. Like the things that I would go to the ends of the earth to defend are like, my daughter's right to her body, your daughter's right to her body, food for people, shelter for people, healthcare for people, not a fucking predatory network of despicable human beings. I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't defend that shit. But some people will.
Yeah.
Some people will.
This is what's nice about being a humanist, and I'll land with this. As you pointed out, how people want to live their lives is none of my business. But I will support you. I will defend you so that you have the right to live your life the same way I have the right to live my life. Because that's how it should be. Obviously, the caveat is if you're doing horrible things and committing crimes, then all bets are off, right? But if you're just a human being out here trying to live your best life, why would I want to prevent that from happening? How does that impact me? It doesn't. Does it make my life better? Yes, because I get to have friends who have differences from me, who see things differently, who have different lived experiences. That only enriches my life and the life of my family. It doesn't make us better people. We're definitely more well-rounded and better educated about things in life. That's why being a humanist is super important.
I agree.
And thank you. Sober people do rock. 15 years as of this month. So there you go. Appreciate you.
1 year for my oldest. 1 year for my oldest coming up in a week and a half.
Yeah, it's getting close. I love you, dude. And we'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Peace.
It's a good man right there. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing to me just comes around to this whole, again, what we're defending, right? And how we're defending it and why we're defending it at the end of the day. Like, why would we defend this shit? Why? Why do people go to that lengths? If racism is expensive, I guess. Expensive on the conscience. It ages you. I wanted to briefly give you some more details of something else that was in the files. And I think it's necessary because I want to make sure that these things don't go without getting reported. And I don't believe that mainstream media will report this because of how just despicable it is. Remember yesterday, I talked to you guys briefly about the some of the networks that J.E. swam in, not only the banking industry and entertainment, but he was heavily involved and invested in science. And he talked about how he was getting into genome therapy. And he talked about wanting to spread his DNA. And he literally talked about how he was looking for girls with blue eyes. And he wanted them all to be pregnant. And he wanted to turn, eugenics, exactly. Well, there is, I have to figure out how I'm going to navigate through this here. I think the best way for me to describe this is, do you remember when you would go out on your back lawn and you would grab your magnifying glass and you would find an ant or a blade of grass or a piece of paper, and you would use the power of the sun through the magnifying glass to burn said item? He did that, allegedly, to 11 to 13-year-old girl. There was a video that appeared to be a young white female aged 11 to 13 with dark-colored hair, tied down naked. The victim is tied to the ground, spread-eagled, with a man who appears to be J.E. holding a magnifying glass with a claw and burning the victim. These are the people that are being protected. That's why I get angry. These are the people that are being protected. They're experimenting on kids, trying to see how far they can push the extremes of the human condition, right? How they can genetically engineer humans differently. So when Thomas Massey says the entire house of cards, or whatever term he used, the entire system is ready to collapse, let it fucking collapse. I know where I'll be when it collapses. I'll be looking for the helpers, and I'll be one of them. Right? I'll be one of those helpers. I'll be standing there with my hand out, helping people, offering assistance however I can do it. And the humanist in me means that applies to everybody. That's just how I see the world. And we have this global network of people like J.E. and Howard Nutlick and the current president of the United States and everybody else involved. Everybody else. And here we are. People are defending it. Standing there, 10 toes down, defending cruelty. Well, Renee Good should have just complied. Alex Preddy shouldn't have brought a gun. Other countries around the world, other institutions, other organizations, they're stepping up. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're just people coming up with nondescript profiles, defending it, laughing about it. American culture, offended by Bad Bunny, claiming that we're a Christian nation. And yet, every person that's in the files are guilty, with the exception of the person who's in the files more than anyone. Hang on a second. Yeah, Bad Bunny was incredibly beautiful. That's the point. I know Gaga looks like she's whispering in my ear. She can if she wants to. Not everything has to be, again, as a political content creator and a social commentary creator, I don't go into this with everything being political, right? That's the topic of the day. We have to cover the news. We have to talk about things in terms of humanity, right? And I've never seen anything like it in my life. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Just the disregard, the overall disregard for human life. Like, the people you choose to defend are the worst of the worst. And I still want you to have health care. I still don't want your kids to struggle. I still want a livable wage. I still want access to capital. I still want people to be able to buy a home. I still want to make sure we have a social safety net. I still want to make sure that we can fund public education, overfund it. And that everybody benefits. I'll just never get it. I'll never understand it. I'll never understand how people can be, how there can be that much hatred towards a fellow human. I just don't get it. Hey, Larry,
Sorry,
how are you?
Good morning.
It's okay, man. What's going on?
I just had one question, and I'll preface it with this. What I got from you earlier, I've been at that point for a little while. Even publicly, I don't want to embarrass my boys or my ex-wife, but I'm done. So my question is there any other option? Because I'll call these people out in public now. Excuse me, I was out of breath. But yeah, is there any other option?
You mean as far as like the debating or conversations?
Trying to talk to them, just trying to tell them.
Well,
I still, and the worst part is one of them is a black businessman. I'm like, what is worse than a woman voting for Trump is a black person voting for Trump. That's my opinion. And I'm in part of both communities. I'm part of the indigenous community, the black community, and the white community, because 26% England, 23% Bantu region, and then comes indigenous, and then all other flavors. So, but I'm identified as Lumbee. But the point is,
American, man. That's the whole point. You are the melting pot we talked about. Right. That's literally you. That's literally you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, as far as your question goes, Larry, everybody has different strategies. Like I'm not going to break bread with Nazis. That's just how I land on it. Right. If somebody, I know there are people that are trying to help deconstruct MAGA, and we've been fortunate. I've had many, many breakthrough conversations with people, but it's got to be people that are willing to see that they've been lied to. I can't convince them of that. I can only keep talking about it. My focus are people that are not participating. My focus is on the 90 million people or so that were registered to vote in 2024 that just didn't turn out. Though that's my target. Those are the people that I want to bring back in, because there are a lot of people like you and me out there that are just trying to raise their kids, that are just, they don't feel like government's looking out for them. They don't feel like they can trust anybody. They're tired of paying too much for health care. They're tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Those people are winnable voters. We just got to remind them what they're voting for. Not necessarily who they're voting for, but what they're voting for and why it's so important for them to be involved. That's my focus.
All right. I understand. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me,
brother, as always. You got it. Have a good day. Be safe out there. I get it. I mean, I totally, again, I understand. I think Danny does a great job at that. A lot of other creators will focus on trying to convert people. How do you convert somebody like a Zach when they just live with hatred? You can't. It's not my job. It's not my job. My job is to have conversations with you, because I know in my conversations with you, the collective you take the message seriously. You understand what do something means. You understand why it's important that love has to win out over hate. why it's so incredibly important that we are doing something for our neighbors, that we are leaning in on our empath heart, right? And it's a curse. I got to admit, right? I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I care about people. I really do. And I want people's lives to be better. I want people to realize that it doesn't have to be this way. If that means the entire system comes crumbling down, then so be it. So be it. Sad part about that, the really sad part about that is we know that if the system crumbles, the people at the bottom are going to get all the weight right on top of them. It's always been that way. You don't have to tell Larry that. You don't have to tell the black community that, the indigenous community. You don't have to tell any marginalized community that. They know. They flat out know. It just might take that. So I'll take Thomas Massey's words to heart. I think he's going to go on the floor of Congress. If DOJ doesn't release the information, he's going to name names. And that's going to probably cause him a lot, including death threats and whatever else. Of course, you get the president's going to go off on him. I don't fucking care. I don't think he does either. That's what character does. He's the kind of person that, again, we can disagree with policy all day long. That's the whole point. I'd love to sit across the table with Thomas Massey in a heated debate about economic policy or immigration policy or education policy. But I could respect him because of what he's done, because he stood for the things that everybody should stand for. I miss those days when I served in my state legislature. I would butt heads with people all the fucking time, but we found compromise. Say, okay, you know what? I can't agree to that, but I can agree with this. And that person's like, okay, I can't agree with that, but I can agree with this. And you narrow it down, you come to a conclusion, you realize that you're both in it for the best interest of the people you represent. You're just coming at it from different perspectives. Right? So until that time comes, though, until that time comes, though, I'm not going to break bread with Nazis. I'm just not. As you can see, I will literally let anybody come up on the panel. I have a very short leash. It's not because of me. I could do it all day long if it was one-on-one, but I'm not going to expose the people in this community that I love dearly to any of that bullshit. Not necessary. Not here. Not here. I see one more request. I'll bring up Kim, and then we'll probably wrap for the day because I'm tired. Yeah. Let me just check in with the mods real quick. Okay. So a lot today, right? Just don't ever forget a couple of simple truths, right? There's always something we can do to help people. It doesn't have to be financially. It doesn't have to be anything more than just a kind word every now and then, right? Hold the door open for somebody. Help somebody with their groceries. Help out a neighbor. Shovel a driveway. Anybody wants to, let me know. And it doesn't matter what it is. The entire spirit of do something is doing something. Okay? And that's the whole point of this entire movement. That's what it's rooted in. That's my belief. Maybe I'm naive. Hi, Natalie. How are you? Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Hi. Hang on. Turn off my Bluetooth.
Thank you.
Let me see if you can you hear me all right?
Yes, you can turn the music down though.
Yeah. One of my. Okay. So I kind of want to make this docuseries on Netflix blow up. Have you heard of it called The Family?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
It's basically it's a lot about like Christianity and the power and like the inner circles of DC and like how the Breakfast of Prayer like came to be and how this group of people, I forget the guy's name, Ed something or something like that, but it really is about how the power came to be in DC and how it's been decades in the making. It's very, very telling, about how like Jesus wants power, and so like they go to the politicians to hold the power, and it's really like spread globally. I just think it's something that everybody should watch, and we should really give it more exposure so that people can watch it and educate themselves. So if you have Netflix, it's just a mini series called The Family, and it's very telling.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. I know Bad Faith is another one that's out there. There's a few. You said this one's called The Family?
Yep.
Okay. I appreciate that, Natalie. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate you.
Sure. Have a good day.
You too. See you later.
See you.
You guys know me. I mean, we can point to a lot of these things. A lot of the hatred we have in our country can really be pointed directly at organized religion. There's no doubt about it because it's easy. You can just pray your sins away, right? Everything becomes justified. Wrap the blanket around you and just say, "Well, we're all sinners. We're all sinners. We all make mistakes." Okay. Hi, Heather.
Hi, Steve. I just wanted to say I really appreciated your anger today because that's how I feel. I feel like the guy at the airport that was screaming about the Epstein files. That's how I feel. I'm so angry, and I appreciated your anger too because it makes me feel less alone. So that's all. I just wanted to say that. And I did just want to call out my fellow YT ladies, who are defending Trump and his post that he made, about Obama. They're not going to pick you either. Okay, guys? They're not going to pick you either. I don't know if you ever watched The Handmaid's Tale or read the book, but the women, the wives in that show and in the book, they didn't have power either. You're not going to be picked. So, yeah.
Preach. And it didn't end well for them, did it?
No, it didn't. Serena Joy lost her finger.
Yeah.
They don't have any power. They are not going to pick you. And I'm so sick of, especially my YT ladies that defend this stuff. Why are you defending it? It's indefensible. Stop doing it. And if you think that you're on the right side of history, you're not. You're wrong. And I don't know, when this is all said and done, we're going to have some very serious conversations with each other, because I have listened to nothing, seen nothing but hatred from people that I thought I knew, complaining about the Bad Bunny performance. What do you mean? Hello? Did you not know that Puerto Rico is part of the United States? Apparently you didn't know that.
No. I can promise you they did not know that.
It's just, it's disgusting. You guys are disgusting. And it's like, you're right, Steve. I don't necessarily have hate in my heart, although I would say I do probably hate Donald Trump. He's probably the only person that I hate, but that's because of everything. That would be like saying, especially like with Schmittler, I hate him too.
Yeah.
Anybody that's like that, I think that that's a fair thing to say. But my average, uneducated person, I don't necessarily hate you, but I do think you're a terrible person. And I don't understand why you're defending this. I mean, I was scrolling on Facebook, the Book of Face, which I don't even know why I should just delete it. There was the story about the conditions of the Baltimore detention facility and how horrible it is. And people are commenting, well, they put themselves in that situation. These are human beings. These are human beings that you're talking about. And it's like, no wonder why they're defending the JE files, because this is what they're saying about people who just came here, who committed a misdemeanor. You're saying that they deserve to be treated less than human. You are disgusting. You are disgusting. And I think the other thing is, and it's just something, and I know we've talked about the Nuremberg trials and how even the secretaries, were held responsible, but I think we always like to forget that Operation Paperclip happened, and the United States government allowed some of those Schnazis to be a part of our government. That happened, so we need to actually draw a true line for these people after this is said and done. Because we can't be breaking bread with these people anymore. Operation Paperclip, they put those people in our government. This is why we're having the problems that we're having now.
Totally agree. No notes, Heather. I appreciate your anger. I appreciate your anger, and as always, your support.
I appreciate you. I wish you well on your goal here. Everybody send Steve $1. If you can send Steve $1, do it. He has been there for his community, so it's time for us to give back to him.
Thank you.
And tap that screen.
That.
And I appreciate you.
Okay,
bye.
I appreciate you too. Thanks. Bye. Appreciate you very much. Let me thank a few folks on that note. I think I got a lot of people. Jessica, thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate you. Alaskan, thank you so much for your kindness as well. On board. Oh, that's cool. Thank you, Alaskan. I don't know if that's your name on TikTok. If you wouldn't mind messaging me, we can chat about that. Amy, thank you for your contribution. Be more. I got you over there. I think I got Anthony earlier. Also, let me thank. Char, I got you. I think I might have missed you yesterday. My apologies, friend, if I did, but I wanted to make sure I got you today. Thank you so much for your kindness and your support as well. You guys are great. We'll get there. We'll get there. I appreciate that. I've got one more request, and then we'll wrap for the day. Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I've been listening to you every morning for the last couple of months. I think you're great. I love your show. It's one of the best on TikTok. Well, actually, sometimes I listen to you also on YouTube.
Thanks.
There's something that happened yesterday, and it sort of upset me, and I've been thinking about it for a day. I'm a black woman, and you had a guest on yesterday who was very angry about what she felt the Congress was not doing very much to try to stop some of the corruption in the Trump administration. And she pointed out two representatives, Booker and Jeffries. And I got a little upset because I was wondering why would she single out the two black representatives? There are 214 representatives, and what are the other ones doing that they're not doing? And why point those two out? So it just sort of, I don't know, it just sort of hit me. And I'm sure she probably didn't mean it that way, but I'm just wondering on our side, maybe sometimes there are some of us that have some implicit biases that we're not aware of. And I just thought maybe I should just bring that up. I would prefer for her to have said, there are representatives that are doing this. This is what they're doing. And I think all representatives should be doing this particular thing instead of just pointing out two representatives who happen to be black men and really disparage them and say they're no good and they're not doing anything. I think we need answers as opposed to the criticism. So I just wanted to say that.
I think that's fair, Chris. I think I have been very critical of Hakeem Jeffries because of the position he's in, because he is the minority leader in the House. He's the top ranking Democrat in the House. I have been critical of him because I just don't think he's showing the leadership that we want. To me, fair criticism. To me, if you want the person to be respected as the leader, like I despise Chuck Schumer the same way. He's the Democratic leader in the Senate. I despise him for a lot of the same reasons that I don't like Hakeem Jeffries, because I just don't think they're doing enough from a leadership perspective. So that's my criticism. Now, what you said, I think, is valid. The fact that and I think there's criticism that can be thrown all across the political spectrum: blue, red, independent, Democrat, Republican. I just look at Hakeem Jeffries differently because of the position he's in. That's where my criticism comes from. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah, I understand that. Yes, I understand that. Yeah, and particularly, I wasn't really. My anger wasn't really towards you. It was basically towards your guest who brought up.
Got you. That's
Booker
fine.
also.
But it's my show, and I can take responsibility for that. It is my platform. But you have a valid point. I think we have to be mindful of that, right?
Also, I would like to know, what should they be doing? I mean, are they supposed to get louder or what? What power do they have?
Well, it's not. What I would be doing, I would be taking a page out of the Republican playbook from an obstructionist perspective. I just don't think there's. I still feel like there's this desire from Hakeem Jeffries, and again, watching him objectively, it just seems like he still wants to figure out ways to negotiate. I think those days are over. I think you need to be changing your. I think I need to see more from the minority party's representatives on committees so that they're showing up more. I think they've got to get more angry. I think they need to be calling for things they want if the next Congress comes around, saying, listen, we are going to be pushing for universal health care. We're going to be pushing for firearm reform. We're going to be pushing, because it can't just be about Trump is bad. It's got to be about the things that we're going to do to make America better. And I just don't think we see that enough. I've never been the best. I'm not a moderate. That's one of the issues I have with Hakeem Jeffries, because I would describe him as a moderate. I'm not a fan of moderates. Whether you're black, white, indigenous, brown, it's irrelevant to me, because I look at this from a political perspective. He's a moderate, and I don't like moderates. And from my perspective, you are either a progressive or you're a conservative. And I put moderate Democrats into that conservative bunch. I want more. We should expect more. We should demand more. If that makes sense, that's kind of where I'm sitting.
Okay. Yes, it does. It does. I wish they could hear you and understand that.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too. There are a few. There are a few. Like, we need more of Jasmine Crockett's voice, of Becca Balint's voice, of Melanie Stansbury's voice, of Max Frost's voice, of Jared Moskowitz's voice. They need to be more front and center. They shouldn't be backbenchers in politics. They need to be in leadership positions. That's what I want to see. I don't want Hakeem Jeffries to be the Speaker of the House when Democrats take the House back, because I just don't think he's progressive enough. Not going to push hard enough for the policies that we all should want. I had faith. I'm just disappointed.
Okay.
That's just being honest.
Okay. Great. Thank you. I really respect your opinion. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Chris. Have a good day. Be safe out there. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. So it's a fair criticism, and it could potentially be a blind spot. But I would have the same criticism of Cory Booker. I like Cory Booker. I really, really do. But he's got a powerful voice, right? He's got a powerful voice. Just use it differently. Why aren't you calling out Chuck Schumer, Cory? That's a perfect example. Use the power that you have. Because there's a lot of people would love to see you in a leadership position, including myself. He's, again, a moderate. But why aren't you calling out Chuck Schumer? He's a feckless leader, Cory. You know that. He's a feckless leader. Chuck Schumer is feckless. Call him out. Call him out. Right? Like the AIPAC thing, we should talk about that. We can talk about that for a different live. But that's what I want, right? That's what I want. I want more energy. So if we're going to hold ourselves accountable, which I believe that the left does significantly better than the right, case in point, what we discussed today, that requires calling out your own self, your own side, your own caucus in the Senate. There's 47 senators that are Democrats. Where is the anger? Where is it? Why are you not going front and center and say, I don't agree with Senator Schumer. He's not being aggressive enough. This is ridiculous. We need more fight. Do you know how much political firepower and goodwill you'll get if you did something like that? That's the issue I have, right? And I want it to be better. I'd love to see the historical nature of a black man becoming the Speaker of the House, but he's got to earn it. And he's not earned it, in my opinion. I just don't see enough fight from him. And I want it. And I want to see it. If we see it, and he's a bit more progressive, and he starts talking about things the majority of Americans want, like universal health care, like responsible firearm reform, like overfunding public education, like doing away with Citizens United, like expanding the court. Talk about it. You've got the fucking momentum right now. You've got the momentum. You've got the wins, the political wins at your back. It's happening everywhere. Louisiana flipped a seat by what, 30 fucking points? Texas, a bright red district, by like 30 fucking points. Seats in Florida and in Ohio and in Pennsylvania, all across the fucking country. You've got the political wins at your back. Fucking use it. Use it. It can't just be all Trump bad. It can't be just that. We want to solve fucking problems, then talk to the American people about what most of us want. Take the fucking gloves off. Just take them off. Just take the fucking gloves off. What's going to happen? What are you afraid of? Seriously. Like, what are you afraid of? We've got a group of we have people in our cabinet that are fucking predators. We have fucking liars. We've got Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Republicans in their caucus supporting them. Then what the fuck are you afraid of? Step the fuck up. Take a page out of Jasmine Crockett's playbook and fucking fight. God damn it. Just fight a little bit. Just show some fucking anger, because you've got the majority of Americans that stand behind you from a belief perspective. We align on the things that I just discussed, education, et cetera, then show the fucking fight. What are you afraid of? Pissing off a moderate in your district? Who fucking cares? You're going to get 2 progressives from your moderate that you lose. I guarantee you that. Fucking fight. It's not that hard. Just do it. The political do something for Democrats in Congress right now is showing some fucking fight. You could not, I think about our tour, it could not come at a better time, because there are people that are engaging. There are people that are starting to see it. You're starting to see the tide shift, because people are saying, I was promised affordability and I'm not getting it. I was promised my housing costs will go down, and the president just said, no, he wants to keep housing costs up. It's a perfect fucking time to do this shit. It's a perfect time. If the entire system needs to come down, then the entire system needs to come down. But god damn, show some fucking backbone. Starting to see a little bit more of it, but that's always been the criticism of conservative Democrats. It's just looking to negotiate, want to roast marshmallows over the fire, sing fucking kumbaya. I'm not singing kumbaya with a bunch of fucking Nazis. Ain't gonna fucking happen. Ain't gonna fucking happen. You've got trash on the Republican Party. Absolute despicable fucking trash. They don't give a shit what they say. They don't fucking care. Stop playing fucking nice. Stop. Just stop. Stand up. Let the fucking system fall. Call it fucking out. And if you can't do that, then get out of the way so somebody else can. Put people like Becca Balint. Bunch of sick fucks. That's what I want. Bunch of sick fucks. And don't, thank you, Kipper, and don't apologize for it. Just don't apologize for it. Just fucking own it. You've got the moment. It was put on a fucking platter for you. You are engaging. You're engaging from a bipartisan perspective with people that are supporting predators? Are you fucking kidding me? Enough. Last request, and then we'll move on. Becca Balint is a gem. Love her. I'm so fortunate to be represented by her. Hi, Judy.
Hi. I didn't really mean to come up, but you're doing a great job. I listen to you every morning, and
I appreciate you.
Keep doing what you're doing, Steve. We all love you.
Thank you, Judy.
I don't know.
I appreciate you.
If you get to South Florida, Sarasota area, where we could use you, you can certainly look me up. I got a place for you to stay.
I appreciate that very, very much, Judy. Thank
and
you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Well, that's always good. Thank you, Judy. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Friends, in case you are interested, if you join our Discord, you'll find a link. You'll find a channel called the Do Something Tour. There's some information in there. If you go to the Facts HQ, which is the factsstillmatter.site or SITE or Facts HQ link, it's in the bio. You'll also see some information about the Do Something Tour. We are working on a web presence. We have an Instagram page. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam, for our merch store. Thank you for our merch. Thank you for keeping me sane. We all love our mods incredibly, and Sam sort of keeps us all sane. So thank you there, friend. If you want to inquire about our route, there's an email address that's there for you that's monitored. We're doing this. We're doing this. But yeah. So I've got one more request, and that'll be it for the day. Because I'm spent. Gonna take the dog for a walk. Iowa, how are you?
I'm doing well, Steve. How about yourself?
I'm all right.
Excellent. I've been busy this morning. Had some free time now, and just wanted to chime in real quick. kind of tie back into earlier in your show. Wow, you were talking about the halftime show, and one of the common complaints I heard was, "Oh, but he's singing in Spanish." I'm gonna date myself because you and I are contemporary. There was a certain song back in the '60s called "La Bamba."
Yeah.
Pretty popular
good
song.
Point. Sure was.
And then in the '90s, there was this dance craze song called "The Macarena."
Sure.
That was in Spanish.
Or Oye Como Va by Santana.
By Santana, correct. And then a little more recently, just a few years back now, Despacito, chart topper.
Exactly.
All in Spanish.
And then Gangnam Style.
Yeah, and the Gangnam Style with that was Korean, and then you had that Russian craze here just a few months ago with the very questionable lyrics if you actually translated it.
Correct.
Same thing with the Brazilian, group that came out and became TikTok famous. Again in Portugal or Portuguese,
Correct.
excuse me. So,
correct.
I just find it a wee bit hypocritical. That they're all screaming about it's Spanish. It's Spanish. Well, what's the second most commonly spoken language in this country? It's Spanish.
I know.
And it's just it infuriates me. And then, it's funny, seeing some of these people running around saying, "Oh, well, we had 50 million viewers for the alternative halftime show." No, you didn't.
Not even close.
14
million at best. 14 million at best estimate. That's what they say.
Yeah. So I'm like, versus the 170, I think was they're saying for for Bad Bunny's performance. So
something
I'm like,
that.
we had a halftime show and we had a Klan rally. That's really what it boils down to.
Pretty much.
And then
thanks for that perspective. Yeah,
I did suffer a little bit, and I went and watched some of their show. And I don't know if you've delved into it. You're not missing anything, by the way. But
I saw some of it only because I had to do research. But yeah.
Yeah, so you did the same thing I did. You suffered for the greater good. Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks for jumping in, Iowa. I appreciate you, bro. Thanks a lot for being here. Have a good day. Be safe out there, okay? You too. Talk to you soon. Somebody just reminded me, 99 Luftballons, Der Kommissar. I mean, any song from Nirvana. I mean, let's be real, okay? It's just something that they wanted to yell about. Der Kommissar? I mean, seriously, what the fuck was that? But Falco? Come on. Anyway, Rammstein, yeah. Para bailar la bamba, right? That as well, right? Pearl Jam. There's a person that they take LinkedIn profiles. Have you seen this video? They're great. They use a Pearl Jam song and they use LinkedIn profile names of people to try to say, these are the lyrics of the song. If I explained that properly, but if you know, it's fucking hilarious. Anyway, I love you all very, very much. I appreciate you all being here today. I know it was heavy at times, and yeah, I got a little angry, but that's okay. I'll be fine. I'm gonna take the dog for a walk, clear my head a little bit, because this is heavy shit, and I want to encourage you all to please try to find some peace today, whatever it is, whatever your peace looks like. Just maybe separate from the screen a little bit, and just get yourself outside and find something to do, because joy is resistance. Do something is whatever you want it to be. Could be big, could be small, could be medium, could be anything. It could literally just be something different where you can make a difference in somebody else's life, because the only thing more powerful than hate is love. Please go rate RTP. I know he's live today, also doing the work. Please support independent journalists everywhere, because it's not easy doing what we do, but we do it for a reason, because our legacy media is letting us down because they're not covering news the way they should, by recognizing the voices of survivors, by propping up marginalized communities, by giving people voices who don't normally have it, and by calling truth to power. I love you all. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern